It's a very good evening to tonight's commentary team here at the London Stadium. Glenn Murray is alongside Vicky Sparks, who can bring us the team news. Good evening, Vicky.
Good evening. Yes, Brentford pushing for Europe, West Ham looking to stay up, so no surprise that the hosts rotate the most, with Premier League survival their priority. 7 changes from the side that beat Fulham. Tati Castellanos and the informed Crescencio Somerville amongst those dropping to the bench, although captain Jarrod Bowen does start, as does Pablo Felipe, who's back from injury, and it is still a side packed full of senior players. Brentford taking this one very seriously indeed. Igor Thiago making his FA Cup debut, having been rested for the 2 previous ties this campaign. Just 3 changes in all from the side that drew with Bournemouth. So the teams for you in full: West Ham, Alphonse Areola in goal. The back 4 of Walker-Peters, Mavropanos, Disasi and Scarles. Ahead of them, Souček, Fernandes and Mahamadou Kante, with Bowen and Traore supporting Pablo up top. For Brentford, it's Kelleher in goal. The back 4 of Coyote, Ayer, Collins and Lewis Potter, who's filling in at left back for the injured Rico Henry. Ahead of them, Henderson and Yarmouk, who makes his 100th Brentford appearance. Ouattara, Damsgaard and Schade supporting that main man. 19 goals for the season. Igor Thiago up top.
Vicky, thank you so much. Alongside Vicky, bringing you the entire confection this evening is Glenn Murray. Glenn, good evening. Where should we start first with the team news, pal? Because there is rotation from Nuno Espirito Santo. Perhaps one eye on the race of survival in the Premier League, but no doubt this is a strong West Ham 11.
Yes, agreed. I think it is a very strong West Ham 11, and when I get a look at the whole of West Ham, including the substitutes, I feel as though they've got people on the bench that can change the game. When I look at the likes of Somerville and Wilson, Castellanos, they've got game changers if this game is getting away from them. When I look at Brentford, not so much. 5 young guys on the bench, not really adept yet at this level of football. Then Sepp van der Berg, Ethan Pinnock and a goalkeeper, so they haven't got any real game changers as we know yet, unless one of the young men makes a name for themselves this evening.
Potentially. Just looking at the league table, Brentford sat 7th, 4 points behind Liverpool. Now, whilst they'll also have an eye on Europe, there's a real opportunity to do some damage and get to the latter stages of this competition here for them.
Yeah, and I think you can see that in the lineup that Keith Andrews has picked without any doubt. I think obviously Igor Thiago hasn't played in the last couple of rounds. I think that is a measure of how seriously he takes his competition, and how seriously, I heard him speaking before actually about respecting the opposition and respecting West Ham. And listen, this West Ham group, they're having a resurrection at the moment. They're picking up points. They're becoming, well, they're gaining an identity under the manager Nuno. So I feel as though this is a tricky game for Brentford, but again, it's kind of which way you look at it. Is a cup competition, is progressing in a cup competition a problem when it comes to league form? I don't think it is. I mean, getting into the quarterfinals of an FA Cup, I think's very, very good, and obviously one more and you're at Wembley and it's a day out for the fans. Or do you look at it, if you progress, it gives you momentum, it gives you positivity around the place? I'm more a foot in that camp rather than the other, but everyone's got their individual opinions.
Glenn, it's time for the quarter-final draw, which is taking place just down below us here, block 215 at the London Stadium. Rowdy West Ham fans ready and eager to see who they potentially may face in the quarter-finals. Let's join Darren Fletcher, Ali McCoy's Joe Hart and Joe Cole.
Just checking, mate.
Well done, Joe.
Right, so Joe Cole is going to do the home teams and Joe Hart is going to do the away teams. So is everybody ready? Are we ready?
We're ready to go.
Okay, let's
We're all
start
set,
the draw
guys.
for the
Let's go.
quarterfinals. Joe Cole,
ready. Here we
the
go.
first team.
Number 1.
Okay, number 1 is Southampton. Had a great result away at Fulham yesterday.
Result.
And they will play, Joe.
Here we go, Joe.
Number 5.
Southampton will play Arsenal.
They're getting a lot of good draws, Arsenal, aren't they?
Well,
the fates are conspiring.
the Southampton fans won't thank you for saying that.
I know.
Right, who's next?
Ready? Right,
Joe.
here we go. Number 7.
Number 7 is Chelsea. So Chelsea at home. And Joe, they will play.
Who have they got, Joe?
They've got number 2.
Home to Port Vale.
The plum tie for Chelsea, innit?
It's a brilliant tie.
Brilliant
Straight
tie
away.
for Chelsea.
It's a great tie
And
for
a great tie for
great
Port
tie
Vale.
for Port Vale.
Wonderful.
That's the most important bit. An away
Correct.
tie, brilliant.
Yeah,
League
they're
One Port
gonna-
Vale.
Yeah, ready?
We are.
Right, okay, here we go.
Go on, goal. City.
Number 3.
Number 3, Manchester City. So Manchester City, Joe,
No pressure, Joe.
former club will play.
Who's getting it then? Who's getting it? Number 6.
Oh, he's only done it. They play Liverpool. What a tie.
Here we go.
What a tie.
Manchester City versus Liverpool. Yeah. So we've got 2 left. And still, by the way, to come
No
out
West
the
Ham.
winners of tonight.
Correct.
Number 8. At
Number
home.
8! The winners of West Ham United against Brentford at home, and they will play.
They're playing number 4.
As you would imagine, that is Leeds United. Winners tonight's tie play Leeds United.
So thank you all. That concludes the quarter-final draw. Ties will be played on the weekend of the 4th and the 5th of April.
So there you go. The draw for the quarter-finals of this season's FA Cup is complete. Southampton will welcome Arsenal to St Mary's. There's a trip to Stamford Bridge for Port Vale. They will play Chelsea. Then it's Manchester City against Liverpool, and West Ham or Brentford will play Leeds United. Glenn Murray, let's get your reaction to that draw first up. What a draw for Port Vale.
Yeah, amazing draw for Port Vale. I'm sure the players will be happy going to Stamford Bridge, but also a little bit of them would have liked to welcome someone. That pitch there, a little bit of a leveller, but he played a factor in beating Sunderland at the weekend. But listen, it's a day out. It's an amazing fixture. Funnily enough, when I get a look at that draw, and actually before this round, I do fancy Chelsea for the FA Cup this year.
I mean, well, they've got to get past Port Vale first.
They have, but I think they can just about do that. Let's see, who knows?
Southampton Arsenal is going to be fascinating because Southampton manager Tom Derecker has got them playing football once again. They look confident after going through a bit of a slump in form, so there'll be no mean test for Arsenal.
No, they won't. I think the way they went about their business at Fulham was very good. One thing they did miss, I think, is that kind of ruthless streak. They got into some really good positions, and if you're going to go through against Arsenal, that ruthlessness needs to be there, because you probably won't manufacture quite as many opportunities against the front runners at the moment.
We'll get reaction to the draw with the Port Vale manager John Brady. He'll be joining us at half-time in this fixture here at the London Stadium. Let's talk rugby though. England's scrum half Ben Spencer says the players are 100% behind Steve Borthwick following their Six Nations loss to Italy at the weekend. The RFU has backed Borthwick to continue as head coach into the summer, but Spencer admits that the recent performances haven't lived up to their high stand of last year. He's been speaking with our rugby union correspondent Chris Jones.
It's obviously been hugely disappointing off the back of what we came off in 2025, but I don't necessarily think it's one thing, or I think it's probably a couple of things in each game that's happened. And look, we're hugely disappointed about the Italy game at the weekend. Like a lot of people have said, up to 60 minutes we played some good stuff and unfortunately couldn't quite get the job done.
Yeah, how did you think you played? Because there has been comment after the game that things went really well, and as players, did you think you played well for most of the game? Yeah,
I think so. I think we obviously went there with a game plan, and look, we were under no illusions like what a test it was going to be over there. Italy had been phenomenal throughout this whole campaign, and we knew it was going to be a huge test. But yeah, we played some good stuff in the first 60 minutes, and probably discipline let us down in that last 20, and like I said, we couldn't quite get over the line.
How much are you given the licence to go away from the game plan as a group?
Yeah, look, we're absolutely given the licence. It's something that Lee talks about, Steve talks about, in terms of playing what we see. If that's spacing behind, or if it's, we were getting a lot of ball back in the air on the weekend, and that was our way into the game. So yeah, in terms of going away from plan, yes, it's not an issue.
You mentioned Lee Blackett there. You would have worked with him at Bath. He's got a stellar reputation for getting a team to attack really slick. Have you seen the Lee that you saw for Bath with England?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's definitely been himself. He's He's a great guy. He's brilliant around the lads. He's one of those guys who really gets the best out of people. You know, he's always speaking really positive around the group and always talking about scoring 4 tries in every game that we play. So yeah, in terms of that, I've definitely seen the same side of Lee that we saw at Bath.
I know as a group you're staying tight and you're away from it all here in Italy. You may have seen the RFU have come out with a statement supporting Steve and the coaching group for the short term at least. As players, how much are you behind what the coaches are doing?
100%. Like you say, we spoke after the game at the weekend, and you know, we're all in this together. Coaches, players, we're going through a tough time at the minute. We had a great 2025 and that's where we want to get back to, and we want to get back to winning ways, but the only way we're going to do it is together.
Let's join Rugby Union correspondent Chris Jones, who is with us. Good evening, Chris.
Hi there, Aaron. Yeah, welcome to Verona, where we're with the England team, who are up here in northern Italy before heading to Paris later in the week for that big one in the Stade de France Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, let's talk about Steve Borthwick, his future. He seems to be being backed by the RFU, and he seems to have the backing of the England squad as well. Will this pass? Can he turn this around?
Huge question. He's had some crises in the past as England boss, Aaron. In the build-up to the 2023 Rugby World Cup, England were in a hole and they managed to get out of it and almost reached the World Cup final. Then at the end of 2024, England were losing matches and Borthwick was a bit under the pump, and they turned it around and had a great winning run in 2025, as Spencer touched upon there. But there haven't been improvements particularly. I know there's been a lot of chat about how England played, and some of the England players have come out and said they played really well against Italy. They were okay for 60, but I think it's stretching it to say much better than that. And then the final 20 minutes where these games are won and lost, they weren't good enough, and Italy deserved the victory. So the questions are, can Borthwick turn it around? And is he setting the team up in the right way? And the way that he has been setting the team up, has it been worked out? So there are a couple of different things for England to deal with. Are they in an emotionally and physically the right place? They've spoken about that this campaign. Then also tactically, are they, as Ben Spencer says there, being given license to play away from the game plan? Are they hamstrung by the game plan? If the game plan doesn't work, where do they go from there? And is the game plan the right one, given that these teams would have been poring over England footage over the course of 2025 and would have come up with a plan to neuter it? So many questions that England have to answer before going to the Stade de France, which, despite France's defeat by Scotland, is one of the toughest places to play in world rugby.
Do you think going into the weekend we will see major change here?
No, I don't think we'll see major change, both in terms of selection, because he's already done that, hasn't he? He wielded the axe between the Ireland game and the Italy game and made a whopping number of changes. He can't make a whopping number of changes all over again, because then you're not giving combinations any time to bed in. So I don't expect too many personnel changes. And from the evidence of today, speaking to Ben Spencer, speaking to Tom Roebuck, not many stylistic changes. England will still persist with a territory game, still look to win balls in the air. But the question is, when they do get the ball, have they got the attacking shape to hurt teams? They've been getting into opposition territory and not executing. It's like a team that's creating lots of chances in football and not banging it in the back of the net. And you could say, oh, that will turn, or maybe there's something a little bit deeper rooted. Do they need to work harder on their attack? Do they need to get more out of Lee Blackett, the very highly rated attack coach, who you just feel, looking from the outside in, isn't able to stamp his mark on the team at the moment? So plenty for England to ponder. Yes, Steve Borthwick has the backing of the players. Yes, he's the backing of the RFU, but does he have the backing of the England support? Well, a good performance, even in defeat, would go a long way to changing that on Saturday night. But if England were to take a heavy beating against a rampant France who are thirsty for this Six Nations title, then the chatter around the future regime will just continue, even if the RFU put out a statement.
Does he retain that backing from the RFU and from the players because he's been able to evolve this team on multiple occasions?
I think there's something in that, definitely. And I think there's something in the fact that the players appreciate the attention to detail Borthwick provides. I think the modern-day rugby player does thrive off clarity, and if they are given a plan, then it's up to them to execute it. But I think players would rather be given a detailed plan than not being given a plan at all. It's the balance, really, isn't it? We have seen teams like Ireland who just turned up at a really great emotional pitch at Twickenham a few weeks back, and we've seen teams like Scotland against France absolutely kill them with their phase play. So it's, what are England doing to hurt teams at the moment? And as we speak, very, very little. They're neither getting the joy in the aerial game or the set piece particularly, or with the ball in hand. So there's just so much for England to work on, and I think this Saturday will tell us a huge amount about how much they believe in each other and how much they still have that confidence to play a team like France, and also whether the Steve Borthwick way of playing can be tweaked and can be evolved and they can make the requisite changes to take on France, and also whether that kind of game plan, if executed well, can still work. So even though there's not much on the line for England in terms of trophies this weekend, so much is at stake, because a 1 out of 5 campaign is pretty unpalatable for English rugby. It's never happened before. And that's before, Aaron, we touch on the other brilliant games on Saturday with Scotland and Ireland in the title hunt, and so much on the line in Cardiff with Wales playing Italy. Really going to be a brilliant end to this fantastic championship.
Yeah, super Saturday. Just on Scotland, very quickly, Ireland who are their opponents on Saturday, 2:10. Gregor Townsend, I mean, he's got injuries searing through his camp, hasn't he?
He does, and this is a shame, because Scotland have seldom been in this position. Well, they haven't been in this position in Six Nations history, with it all on the line in the final day. Now, France are still the favourites for this title, because if they do what they need to do, regardless of what Scotland manage in Dublin, France will retain their crown. But for Scotland to be in the mix, for Scotland to have something tangible to play for in terms of the Triple Crown, it's just so big for their long-suffering fans who have been starved of success all century. But, as you touch upon, two of their really key players, they've both been outstanding, Gregor Brown and Scott Cummings. Their starting second-row pairing, they're both out injured. They have other injuries as well. Yes, there are players like Grant Gilchrist, who's got a shed load of experience, but Brown and Cummings have been key for Scotland. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for the Scots. They haven't won in Dublin in 16 years. They do go there with more confidence and belief, perhaps, than ever before. But you do feel that they need as many players fit and available as possible. So it is a blow to lose those guys.
There's a bumper day of rugby on Saturday here on 5 Live. Ireland versus Scotland from 2:10 on 5 Live. If you head over to Sports Extra, I believe it's Sports Extra 3, which has Wales versus Italy from 4 o'clock, and then the big one Saturday evening as England take on France. Join Sonia McLaughlin from 7:30 for build-up to that. Thank you very much, Chris Jones. Let's push on and talk tennis. Defending champion Jack Draper is in action at Indian Wells in the next hour. There'll be commentary on his match against Francisco Cerundolo on 5 Sports Extra. He's one of 3 British players still in the main draw. Russell Fuller is there for this evening. Russell.
Good evening, Aaron. It started well from a British perspective, because Cameron Norrie is up against the number 6 seed Alex Diminor, and he's taken the first set 6-4 and is an early break up in the second, leading by 2 games to 1. Norrie saving 4 break points in the first set, took his only opportunity to break, and he's looking like the man at the moment who had that run to the title in 2021. Very encouraging start indeed against one of the very best players in the world. Draper's match against Francisco Cerundolo will be taking place with Draper still feeling a little underprepared in what will be only his 5th singles match since August after that arm injury. And then overnight tonight UK time, Sonny Cartel, who knocked out the seeded Emma Navarro, gets a crack at a Grand Slam champion in Madison Keys. She'll be trying to repeat her run of last year to the 4th round. And actually on the centre court at the moment beneath me, Aaron, on a cooler day with a little bit more cloud cover today, Novak Djokovic is playing. Won the first set against Alexander Kovacevic, but finds himself 5-1 down in the second.
Love that for Novak. But, Russell, we've got to touch on this. Another disappointing tournament for Amma Raducanu coming to an end overnight.
And she's now lost 10 matches in a row against top 10 players after losing 6-1, 6-1 to Amanda Anisimova. And it was, Aaron, very reminiscent of her heavy defeats to Iga Swiatek at Roland Garros last year, to Elena Rybakina in the US Open. Anisimova is the world number 6. She's been in 2 of the last 3 Grand Slam finals, and she was absolutely outstanding last night. She was regularly taking control of the points from the first strike. There were very, very few rallies in the match, but as we've seen before against the top 10 players in the world, Raducanu was once again totally overpowered. There was very little resistance. She seemed to lose confidence and heart very quickly, and it was all done in 52 minutes. Now, she's talked about playing more aggressively. It's the game style she wants to adopt. I asked her whether that's going to work against players like that, and she says that's still the way to go, but admits she needs to get fitter and stronger. She does start at a disadvantage in that she's only 5'7" tall, and that's not going to change, and she's just not as powerfully built as somebody like Anisimova. So I think she's also going to need more variety as well, and come up with some different strategies to try and make life more uncomfortable for these top players.
Russell, thank you so much for that. Let's just give you the latest from Cortina. Britain's Neil Sampson said a couple of mistakes stopped him from defending his Paralympic Super G title as he finished fourth at the Winter Paralympics. Paralympics GB are still awaiting their first medal of the Games. This week we have live commentary of Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham and Newcastle in the Champions League. Galatasaray against Liverpool and Newcastle versus Barcelona are both on 5 Live tomorrow night, whilst Atletico Madrid versus Spurs is on Sports Extra. Then on Wednesday, Bayer Leverkusen versus Arsenal will be followed by Real Madrid against Manchester City on 5 Live. Also this week, Cheltenham returns. It gets underway tomorrow. You can hear commentary of all 28 races across Sports Extra with the feature race at 4 o'clock also on 5 Live. There's live coverage of the first 3 days at 1 o'clock on Sports Extra. Then Friday, of course, Gold Cup Day. Mark Chapman will present the coverage on Sports Extra and 5 Live. Join us from 1 o'clock. Let's check back in here at the London Stadium. We'll be 5 minutes away from kickoff. And let's talk a bit about Brentford. Keith Andrews said ahead of this month that this season they've treated the cup competition seriously, and this will be no different. Glenn, I'll come back to you. Just looking at their route to this game, they played Sheffield Wednesday, pretty routine tie. We know where Sheffield Wednesday are going. Macclesfield was an interesting one there because they made changes, but it was the midfield. They just looked to keep that constant and consistent, and they got through it. It could have been a banana skin.
Yeah, listen, I think in the narrative of kind of the big upset this year of Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace, Brentford went there with their eyes very much open. They knew about the pitch, they knew about how good Macclesfield were, about their strong players, obviously riding on the crest of a wave after knocking the holders out. So I feel as though if there was one team that Macclesfield didn't want in the next round, it was Brentford, because they can play a style of football where it is asking questions of the opposition from a physicality point of view, from first and foremost putting it in the opposition box and asking questions from a defensive point of view. So I was always very confident that Brentford would go through in that game.
I think you can probably tell that the teams have made their way onto the pitch. It's the unmistakable sound of I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles live from the Olympic Stadium here on the Olympic Park, the London Stadium on the Olympic Park. It is West Ham United against Brentford for the opportunity to play Leeds United in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. It's time to join our commentary team of Glenn Murray, but first, Vicky Sparks.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Welcome, everyone, as the flames shoot into the dark London skies here and the players line up in front of us and go through their pre-match handshakes. Brentford pushing for Europe for the first time in their history. West Ham hoping their recent revival will keep them up. But for tonight, put the Premier League aside, because this is the FA Cup and a place in the quarter-finals is at stake. West Ham, 3-time winners, looking to reach the last 8 for the first time in a decade. Brentford, who are still on the hunt for their first major trophy, haven't got to the quarter-finals since 1989. Glenn Murray alongside me, and Glenn, this could be a very interesting matchup this evening.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it's two teams that want to progress to the next round. Yes, West Ham have made a few changes, but I still think there is a desire to progress. And when I get a look at both teams, when you look at their Premier League possession rates, they both perform better with less than 50% possession. So I'm interested to see who takes the game by the scruff of the neck, and who tries to control it, who tries to control the football, who tries to break each other down, in what capacity, because both like to play the counter-attack.
And in terms of recent form as well in the Premier League, I think that is what makes this so fascinating as well. West Ham, yes, they're at the opposite end of the table to Brentford, but just 2 defeats in their last 10 games in all competitions. Brentford have only lost 1 of their last 7. And as you say, Glenn, West Ham have made 7 changes for this one. We'll go through the full lineups in a moment. But this is still a strong West Ham side. And a lot of West Ham fans coming into this one have been talking about the need to keep momentum. There is still an opportunity, even despite those 7 changes, for West Ham to do that with what is still a senior outfit out here this evening.
Yeah, especially through the spine of the team, when you look at that kind of experience, and like I say, they've got plenty of options from the bench. And also with the draw being pre-game, I think this is a fixture where they see the next round. They've got Leeds at home. It's a real chance to get to the semi-final of the Cup and have a day out with your club. So I think that draw will have only spurred both managers on, and I'm sure all the players out in the field know exactly what lies next.
Yes, if you're just joining us here on 5 Live, that draw for the quarterfinals taking place in the last half an hour. As Glenn says, West Ham or Brentford will host Leeds. Southampton are at home to Arsenal. Chelsea welcome League One Port Vale after their heroics against Sunderland yesterday. And the tastiest tie of all, Manchester City at home to Liverpool. As Brentford prepare to get us underway, they have made just 3 changes for this one from the side that drew with Bournemouth. And Igor Thiago makes his FA Cup debut, which, Glenn, just shows how seriously Keith Andrews is taking this, having left him out to rest him of the matchday squad from the previous 2 ties.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I think he hasn't got many options, Keith Andrews, unfortunately, due to injuries in the squad. So that opportunity to refresh his team isn't really there for the Brentford manager. But listen, to play your top scorer, why not try and add to that tally?
And they're starting brightly, Brentford. Kevin Schade into the box, shot on the angle across goal, sails over the yellow-clad figure of Alphonse Areola and out for a West Ham goal kick. So Areola, who has been number 1 for most of this season for West Ham, but has recently lost his place to Mads Hermansen, who's given a total rest this evening. One of 7 changes for West Ham, the likes of Crescencio Somerville, Callum Wilson, Tati Castellanos, Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the bench. But it is still, as we say, a strong West Ham side. It's not a load of youngsters in, it is players that are very much in and around that Premier League squad. As Jarrod Bowen, the captain for West Ham, drives forward, lovely work down the right-hand side into the penalty area. He goes, and the shot is blocked away. It's a West Ham corner inside the opening minute here at the London Stadium.
He pulled that out of the sky beautifully, didn't he, around about the halfway line. Just brought it out of the sky, actually megged Lewis Potter as he pulls it out and then drives towards that 18-yard, but can't quite manufacture it onto that trusty left foot. Tries to cross it the right, and he'll settle for an early corner.
So, corner to be taken by Ollie Scarles from this near side. Another of the 7 changes that Nuno Espirito Santo has made for West Ham this evening. He raises his right hands in the air, swings the ball into the crowded 6-yard box. It's flicked away by Ayer for Brentford, but will be picked up on that far side by West Ham, who will work it to Mateus Fernandes, hurts to shoot 32 yards out. And now the drive comes in from Ollie Scarles from 25 yards out and sails over the bar for a Brentford goal kick. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, never really looked set, did he, Scarles? He was a little bit further in than Fernandes. On that left foot of his, plays it back in. He's somebody close. I think it's Damsgaard who's stretching to try and close him down, but never really gets hold of that shot. A little bit wayward from the young West Ham man.
Yeah, still waiting for his first goal in senior football, 20-year-old Ollie Scarles. As Queeving Kelleher, Brentford's regular number 1, sends the ball long downfield out to the left in Kevin Schade. It's cleared away by Mavropanos at the back for West Ham, out for a Brentford throw midway through the West Ham half. So West Ham with Areola in goal, the back 4 of Walker Peters, Mavropanos, Disasi and Scarles. Ahead of them Souček, Fernandes and 20-year-old Mohamedou Kante. And ahead of them Bowen, Traoré supporting Pablo Felipe up top, who's just back from a calf injury. This is first appearance since early February. It's West Ham Steelers, and here is Pablo driving over the halfway line. He's got Bowen to his right and he uses him. Here he goes, Jarrod Bowen looking for the return ball for Pablo. And Kelleher out quickly to smother for Brentford, 0-0.
Yeah, he didn't really have many options there, did he, Bowen, when he gets it on the right-hand side? He's only got that one option. Pablo making that underlapping run after playing the ball originally. Kind of runs out of room, gets crowded out by the Brentford defence. But when I get a look at both teams, I do worry for West Ham with the matchup of Atara, Scarles and Walker Peters and Schade. I think the Brentford wingers have probably got the beating the West Ham fullbacks, so I'll be keeping a keen eye on those battles this evening.
Nice work by Damsgaard and Matara down the right-hand side, but eventually they can't keep the ball in and it goes out of play for a West Ham throw just inside their own territory. So Brentford with Kelleher in goal, the back 4 of Coyote, Ayer, Collins and Lewis Potter filling in for the injured Rico Henry at left back. Henderson and Yarmoliuk making his 100th Brentford appearance ahead of them, with Ouattara, Damsgaard and Schade supporting 19 goals for the season. Igor Thiago making his FA Cup debut up front. He missed the vast majority of last season through injury, so couldn't make his debut in the competition in his first Brentford season. As we say, he was rested for the first 2 rounds by Keith Andrews, but back in the side today against Premier League opposition as Sharda has almost slid through the middle. It's a good challenge, and West Ham will bring it away with Mateus Fernandes, and here they come once more. Picked up now by Souček. There's the option of Bowen down the right-hand side, and again West Ham use him. Walker-Peters on the overlap, and found now is Kyle Walker-Peters as he pulls it back to Tomáš Souček. And now Mateus Fernandes out to the left-hand side. He goes, and that ball will just about be trapped over on the far side by Adama Traore. Stolen by Dango Ouattara. It's a brilliant run by Ouattara, but Traore using all of that trademark pace to steal back in and win possession and send the ball back to Alphonse Areola. 0-0, 5 minutes gone.
Well, he kind of left that ball, didn't he, to Scarles to deal with Coyote. Realised the young man was in a little bit of trouble and just put the afterburners on, won the ball back with relative ease.
And Brentford have won it back here. Damsgaard inside the penalty area, laid off to Henderson. Just over the bar from the edge of the box. Oh, that was mighty close from Jordan Henderson to opening the scoring for Brentford.
Yeah, you can tell from his reaction, he thinks he should do better. It's one where Damsgaard plays it from the left-hand side, plays it right across that line of the 18-yard box. Henderson's approaching the 18-yard box, lets it run across his body onto that trusty right foot and side foots it, tries to pass it into the top left-hand corner. Just gets his angles wrong. It's a warning sign from Brentford.
Here are West Ham in possession on the left-hand side. Goalless here in the early stages of this final FA Cup 5th round tie here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A home tie against Leeds United awaits the winners of this game between West Ham and Brentford, as West Ham work it up to the halfway line. Nice control by Mateus Fernandes, but he's dispossessed. Yarmoliuk might have been tugged back there. Lovely bit of skill. In the end, can't find his teammates, but it got a little nick on the way through as he tried to find Michael Coyote, and it will be a throw to Brentford, and Coyote will launch it long, looking for the run of Dango Ouattara, and Areola very quickly out to the edge of his penalty area to gather.
Yeah, good start by Brentford so far, attacking with pace, power. West Ham a little bit more pedestrian at times in and around the Brentford 18-yard box.
Jarrod Bowen won't keep that ball in, and Keane Lewis Potter will pick up a spare ball from that white cone and prepare to take the throw right in front of his manager. Keith Andrews signed a well-deserved new deal last month until 2032. Says that when he took over from Thomas Frank, he felt like he had to earn his stripes, and my word, hasn't their former set-piece coach done that, Glenn Murray?
Yeah, he has indeed. I don't think even he could have imagined it going so well, and for him to just find that kind of groove with these players so often, and this man chasing the ball just went out of play. Igor Thiago has been a huge part of that. But you know what, kudos to Keith Andrews, because he's seen the profile of the big Brazilian, seen what his strengths and weaknesses were, and he said, you know what, we're going to play to it, that physicality, we're going to let him be a platform for us. And I know if I can create him opportunities, or I believe, should I say, that if I can create him opportunities, he will finish them, and boy has he.
Yeah, 19 goals for the season in all competitions. Igor Thiago as West Ham work the ball out to Mohamedou Kante under pressure. And that will bounce out of play for a West Ham throw. Michael Coyote is aghast. He thought that was Brentford's ball, but it's not, it's West Ham's. But I think that was always the hope, wasn't it, for Igor Thiago? He was their record signing when he arrived in 2024. As we mentioned, he missed basically the whole season because of injury, and then losing Mbeumo, losing Wissa in the summer. But there was always this hope that that's why they paid the big money for Igor Thiago, and that he would be able to come good. But there was a lot of pressure on him to do so, given the players they lost up front in the summer, and he has more than lived up to that. Yeah, but I think they were very aware of his capabilities. He even though we hadn't seen much of him externally, internally they knew all about him. They'd seen him train, they'd seen what his level was, and they believed that he could do it in the Premier League. It wasn't like a new signing and you're pinning your hopes on him. So I thought it was very good business. Obviously the alarm bells were going for everyone else when Wissa and Mbeumo leaves the building, but obviously they were very aware of Igor Thiago's capabilities, and I feel as they dipped into the transfer market very well to get the likes of Ouattara, proven Premier League down at Bournemouth, and also bringing Jordan Henderson, I think, was a stroke of genius. Yes, now their record signing Brentford, Dango Ouattara, as Kelleher clears away under pressure. It's flicked on by Kevin Schade towards the aforementioned Igor Thiago, who is challenged by Axel Disasi. Thiago wants a free kick. He's not going to get it from referee Andy Madley. And talking about the impact that Thiago has had for Brentford this season, Axel Disasi, since arriving in February on loan from Chelsea, has been a revelation for West Ham.
Yeah, he has. And do you know what? I know that they're still in the relegation conversation, but personally I always looked at West Ham and yes, they had their balance wrong, but they always score goals. I always feel as though if you're going to exit from the Premier League, goals is often a big issue. Being able to get it in the back of the net at this level is one of the hardest things to do, and for me West Ham have always done that throughout this Premier League season. Yes, at one point they were shipping too many, but really good recruitment. Bringing Disasi in has just made them a little bit more solid, got that balance better.
Glenn Murray with us here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening, live from the London Stadium in this FA Cup 5th round tie. Goalless still in the opening 10 minutes between West Ham and Brentford, as Kevin Schade picks it up midway through the West Ham half. A little loose there from Jarrod Bowen, but Schade's done really well, and the shot driven in, couple of ricochets, and it's gathered by Alphonse Areola. It was Michael Kayode bursting forward from right back for Brentford, drawing the save from Alphonse Areola, and Schade can't smuggle home the follow-up.
No, it's good play by Brentford. Schade actually finds Kayode. I think he's trying to push it through from himself, just gets a little bit too much on it after a 1-2 on the edge of the box. Manages to find Kayode as the outside runner, and once it arrives at the Brentford full-back, goes for safety really, side foot hard. Areola equal to it.
West Ham in possession on the halfway line. Michael Kayode trying to shepherd Adama Traore, and the ball sails right over Traore's head. Christopher Ayer is underneath it, big up and under from the Brentford man, and clears out of play, and it will be a throw to West Ham. Brentford with the momentum at the moment, but there's been a nice ebb and flow in these early stages of this FA Cup tie. As West Ham pick it up with Mavropanos, third of the way inside their own half, goalless.
Yeah, the FA Cup games, they just have a different feel to them, don't they? There's no protection, there's no points to be won. It's a straight out shootout. Who can go into the next round, and it brings a little bit of a freedom and I think an openness from the to the feel of the game.
It was Axel Disasi, nice run up to halfway. He was pulled back there, but referee Andy Madley plays advantage. Now Mavropanos will look out to the left-hand side. Mateus Fernandes picks it up, and will be collected by Ollie Scarles. Back to Mateus Fernandes, in fields to Mohamedou Kante. Now Mavropanos picks it up on the edge of the centre circle. Walker Peters in an advanced position, and will be found by Mavropanos. Well held up by Kevin Schade, but will squeeze it through to Tomasz Souček. Blocked away by Schade. West Ham throw deep in Brentford territory on the right-hand side.
Yeah, starting to string a few passes together here, West Ham, but given away cheaply by Bowen. Right away, Brentford try and counter-attack, turn out, go backwards. I haven't quite got the support on that occasion. But yeah, I just looked at Fernandes there. He's been a real standout player for West Ham. Always brought that energy and that belief, hasn't he? Even in the bad times, always setting that tempo of pressing, of moving the football. Seeing him there, link 2 or 3 passes together.
West Ham looking to keep their shape as Brentford in position, just inside their own half. Yes, did well, didn't he? Mateus Fernandes with Southampton, despite their relegation from the Premier League last season, and as Glenn Murray says, he's done well in turn for West Ham after his arrival last summer. Lovely work by Dango Ouattara down the right-hand side, wriggling past the challengers, plays it to Damsgaard, edge of the box, went for the 1-2 with Dango Ouattara. Henderson was up there as well. West Ham make the interception and will clear up towards halfway, where Pablo goes down. Nothing doing from referee Andy Madley, and Brentford will bring it forward again.
Yeah, I think Damsgaard wanted Ouattara to go again, didn't he there? He tried to play it into his winger's path. Ouattara wasn't quite on the same wavelength.
Here goes Keane Lewis-Potter, plays the ball into the area looking for Thiago. It's cleared away by Disasi, collected by Nathan Collins. He's really stepped up, the Brentford captain, but he's lost it midway through the West Ham half. Now he's trying to put the pressure on to make sure that West Ham can't counter, and it does pay off. West Ham do win a throw right in front of Keith Andrews in the Brentford dugout, but the fast, dangerous counter was stopped. 0-0.
Yeah, good pressure there by Brentford when West Ham did win it back. 3 players round the first West Ham man. He passes that off to Kyle Walker-Peters. Another 3 events around him. eventually give a throw in away, but definitely started the better of the two teams here at Brentford. Look very dangerous going forward.
7th in the Premier League, they sit 4 points behind Chelsea in 5th as they look to qualify for Europe for the first time in their history. And they have the ball midway through their own half. Played forwards to Jordan Henderson, who's gone closest for Brentford so far, as well as Michael Coyote, who's drawn a shot from Areola. Not too much at the other end for Queeveen Kelleher, all in orange to do so far. As Nathan Collins picks it up for Brentford and advances towards the halfway line, to the left-hand side, and Keane Lewis-Potter, as we mentioned, filling in at left-back. It's a role he's played many times for Brentford, but it's more naturally a more forward-thinking player, and so expect him to get forward very much from that left-back position as Tango Ouattara is fouled just outside the centre circle. Brentford were thinking about taking that quick free kick with Yarmulke, but Andy Batley says no, make sure it's being taken exactly from where it should be, and they will bring the set piece back 0-0.
Yeah, Tara's starting to dictate to Scarles on that far side. A couple of times he's got it to feet, gone past the young man there, drifting into the area again. Goes past Scarles with relative ease. Now Scarles on his bottom, he's in the box.
Passed in by Ouattara, headed away on the edge of the 6-yard box. You could be a commentator, Glenn Murray. It's Keane Lewis-Potter.
Well, usually the goal commentator has to shut up while it gets in the 18-yard box, and I didn't, did I?
Nah, just keep going. Keane Lewis-Potter crosses it all the way across the penalty area, and it's out of play for a West Ham goal kick. I thought you were doing very well. I was hoping they were going to score there, and you could have called your first ever goal live on 5 Live.
The ABCs of co-commentary, and I got it wrong.
So, goal kick to West Ham. It's still goalless here. 16 minutes played as Nuno Espirito Santo watches on from the edge of his technical area. It's Areola. It's closed down there by Damsgaard, but does clear over the halfway line. But Brentford at the moment are winning back possession repeatedly, and Kevin Chardonnay will pick it up and steer it back to Christopher Ayer. The run through the centre was being made by Ouattara. Instead it's shorter to Damsgaard, just inside the West Ham half. Laid off now to Michael Coyote. West Ham 0, Brentford 0.
I can tell you, Vicky, it wouldn't be the first time I've talked myself into a situation that wouldn't.
Out to the right-hand side. Do you mean on or off the pitch?
Oh, unfortunately, both.
West Ham with more defending to do as Brentford come down the right-hand side, and the ball goes out of play for a throw to West Ham, playing in their traditional claret shirts, the white shorts and the white socks. Brentford all in their changed pale blue strip. And West Ham with the throw over on the far side, but as Glenn says, Brentford have started this game well. They have been so good on the road of late. That has been a problem for them over the years, but not this season. They're coming forward again. That ball cleared away by Axel Disasi before Thiago can latch onto it, and that's a lovely bit of strength on the halfway line from Adama Traore, racing towards the penalty area. Let's fly. And in the end, it's a good few yards wide of Queeveen Kelleher's post, but there's just a little glimpse of what Adama Traore, what we know he can do.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what the West Ham fans want to see more of. Gets turned on that halfway line. Coyote gets too tight, spins him, and then he just drives and drives right into almost the centre of that 18-yard D. When he gets the opportunity, can't quite shoot on target, just pulls it back across the goal, a couple of yards wide. But a little bit of life from West Ham, a little bit of noise from the West Ham supporters.
Lovely turn by the 20-year-old Mohamedou Kante for West Ham, driving through the Brentford half, and the ball will go out to that left-hand side. It's laid off once more. Little check on the edge of the area, and now Souček in the box tried to cut it back rather than let him fly, and the West Ham fans are furious. They wanted somebody, whether it was Kante, whether it was Souček, whether it was Traore, to get a shot away, and nobody did. They might do here. It's driven in by Pablo, deflection, and that will be a corner to West Ham.
Yeah, well, as you can hear, the West Ham fans are much happier with that little spell of possession. When they worked that ball, they manoeuvred it really well around the Brentford 18-yard box. It eventually arrives on the right-hand side, inside the 18-yard box to Thomas Souček, and it falls on his left foot. I actually thought he was actually in the position of Jarrod Bowen, and if he was there, he would have whipped that back across his left foot. Hasn't quite got that in the locker. Thomas Souček looks to play it back into the box. Eventually comes to a corner.
Corner which will be taken in front of us on this near side. Ollie Scarles is over it again. Movement in that crowded 6-yard box as Scarles swings it in to the near post. It's headed away by Igor Thiago. Tejas Fernandez checks on the edge of the area, swings it in left-footed. That's a good delivery towards goal, and stabbed in, and the Bowen puts West Ham ahead. It looked tight. We do have VAR from the 5th round onwards. They will have a look. But on the field, West Ham ahead, and it's their captain, Jared Bowen.
And it's always their captain, Jared Bowen, isn't he? Always steps up when his club need him. Really has taken this club to his heart, Jared Bowen. And this is after a really good spell of possession for West Ham. Definitely their best period in the game as we approach the 20-minute mark, and it's a recycled corner. Fernandes puts it back in. Can't quite make out who. I think it's Thomas Souček who wins it at the back post, nods it back across the goal. I think he flicks it on, it comes off higher, and it falls nicely for Jared Bowen, who is always gambling back across. Keeps that run on side, bounces between him and the goalkeeper. And as it's lifted back up into the air, it just stabs it into the roof of the goal, wheels away like we've seen on so many occasions here at the London Stadium. Hand on the corner flag, crowd going wild.
Well, we've not restarted yet. It was tight. I think Bowen might just be behind the ball as well, but they are having a look at it, VAR. But they're happy, Andy Madley's happy, the goal will stand. A 9th goal of the season for West Ham's top scorer and their captain, Jared Bowen. And although Brentford's arguably have been the better side, it's West Ham who hit the front. 20 minutes gone on 5 Live on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it is against the run of play as well. 2 or 3 minutes there of a couple of good attacks, didn't they, West Ham? And they've without doubt made it count. But Brentford trying to get that foothold back in the game, try and control the game, because throughout the start of this game they have without doubt been the better side.
Coyote's ball just a little bit too much on it for Dango Ouattara, and West Ham have the ball just outside their own penalty area. Will clear it up towards the halfway line. They're under real pressure here, but they will work it out of that pressure and drive over the halfway line. And that's a good run by Kyle Walker-Peters as they look to double their advantage. It's cleared away by Nathan Collins, straight back to Walker-Peters. Now Mateus Fernandes forward to Jared Bowen once more, chops it back, but there's nobody in a West Ham shirt there to pick it up, and it's cleared up towards Thiago, but they've got it back again, West Ham, and a lovely little back heel from Pablo. Won't quite reach Jared Bowen. It's behind for a Brentford goal kick. Let's get an update from the tennis. Russell Fuller.
And a fine win for Cameron Norrie, who's just knocked out the 6th seed Alex de Minaur 6-4, 6-4. So the champion of 2021 is into the last 16 at Indian Wells again.
Thank you very much, Russell. Here at the London Stadium, it's the West Ham fans who are bouncing, because they lead Brentford by 1-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, 1-0 up West Ham, but again they've sat back in, allowing Brentford possession of the football. Asking the question, can you break us down? A little bit more resolve now from the West Ham players. They now have something to protect in this game.
Here are Brentford's in possession on the halfway line. Jordan Henderson looking for options. Speaking of getting yourself into trouble earlier, Glenn Murray, you almost did when you threw your coffee everywhere.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you had to mop it up with your team sheet. We're having to share.
I know. I mean, I wouldn't describe it as threw it everywhere. I mean, I did knock it over, unfortunately. And our desk here is so tight at the London Stadium, isn't it? So we nearly didn't make it on air.
Yeah, I should clarify, listeners, it wasn't a fit of pique by Glenn Murray. It was very, very accidental, and I'm sure VAR would have agreed. As Brentford win a free kick just inside the West Ham half. It's West Ham who lead midway through this first half by 1-0.
Yeah, but it's Brentford again who are on the ascendancy in this game, but West Ham do like that, don't they? They're happy to play on that counter-attack, willing runners, the likes of Bowen. Thomas Souček crashes the box really well at times. Obviously Adama Traore, who set that whole really run of, I suppose, lifting the tempo of the game from a West Ham perspective off. That big diagonal run when he got the ball. I'm sure Nuno wants to see more of him. But again, when you reflect on that piece of business in January, really positive, really cheap for the quality of player that you're getting into the football club.
Yeah, arrived in January from Fulham. Adama Traore deal worth up to $2 million. It's until the end of the season. They've got the option of another year. Did feature regularly for Fulham this season, but mostly as a substitute. Only one Premier League start, but a man with huge Premier League experience. Of course, he worked with Nuno Espirito Santo at Wolves, where he had arguably some of his best days as a Premier League player, as well as Brentford win a throw midway through the West Ham half.
Yeah, without doubt, that will have played on his mind. Getting back with his old manager that, like you say, has possibly got the best out of him in his Premier League years.
Well, can Michael Coyote get the best out of this long throw for Brentford? He really can launch them. This is what he's doing here from the left-hand side towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Brentford make first contact, but then Traore gets there for West Ham, and it's volleyed over, almost out for a throw, but spins away to that right-hand corner flag by Yahor Yarmouk, and West Ham still lead Brentford by a goal to nil.
Yeah, got sucked into that one, didn't he? Yarmouk just falls quite nicely about 22 yards from goal, and he tries to catch it on the half volley, and I'm sure in his mind it went very differently to how he executed it. Like you said, span just out of play and towards the far corner flag.
So West Ham building from the back once more, leading by a goal to nil here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And here is Adama Traore. Nice layoff for Mohamedou Kante. He switches play quite expertly out to the right-hand side. Lovely ball from the 20-year-old to find Kyle Walker-Peters. In field now to West Ham's goal scorer, Jarrod Bowen. Lays it off to Mateus Fernandes. And back to Mateus Fernandes from Bowen once more. And now Souček just outside the centre circle. A home tie with Leeds awaits the winners of this in the quarter-final. Southampton will host Arsenal. Chelsea will welcome League One Port Vale. Manchester City will be at home to Liverpool. As West Ham build once more from the back, leading by a goal to nil, courtesy of Jarrod Bowen's goal on 19 minutes here at the London Stadium. So Adama Traore plays it in field, and Bowen works it out beautifully to the left-hand side, edge of the area for Felipe, and in the end he's committed the foul, and the whistle's gone, and it's a free kick to Brentford inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, when Jarrod Bowen plays that ball to Pablo, he's quite far out on that left-hand side, just inside the 18-yard box, but you can see the angle's too tight for him to hit with his left foot, so he tries to pull it back onto his right, cut inside Coyote. Coyote reads the situation really well, blocks him off, buys a free kick.
To be fair, having just seen the replay, might well have been offside as well, so wasn't likely to come to anything for West Ham, and it didn't, as Thiago has it for Brentford in his FA Cup debut. Down the other end, lays it off to Dango Ouattara. Now work to Yahor Yarmouk. Out to the right-hand side he goes, and Ouattara will pick it up once more. Brentford, who have been so good on their travels of late, trailing 1-0 at the London Stadium grounds, where they've already won this season 2-0. Back in October, very comfortable that one was for Brentford. West Ham had just one shot on target, but they have really picked up of late under Nuno Espirito Santo. Lovely turn by Ouattara, ball into the area, and the header towards goal is in. Nathan Collins was up there from the back. Got a little ricochet on the way through. West Ham are appealing. Again, we've got VAR. They will have a check. But on fields, the goal stands, and Nathan Collins has got the equaliser for Brentford.
Well, I think Thiago gets involved in this. It's a good header from Nathan Collins, but I think his striker's offside, and he might get a little nick as it goes past him. I'm just going to see another replay quickly. Really good play by Ouattara again. Stands, scars up and just lifts it into the box. He's actually onside. It does hit the Brentford striker. It hits him on the chest. But I think it's Kante who's dropped in to try and stop the cross once Ouattara went past Scales, who's actually going to play him on. And now the question is, does he handball it? He's definitely onside. Just wonder if it hits all chest and no arm. He tries to get his arm out of the way. I think that's going to be given as a goal, Vicky.
Yes, so Glenn's called it perfectly. Collins with the header. It does brush off the chest of Thiago, so it's going to be his goal. And I think it does hit his chest. Oh, we've got another one of these scenarios, haven't we? It's going to be like Ashley Barnes at Burnley all over again, where, of course, Brentford thought they conceded a late equaliser, but then VAR looked at a million angles and decided it had hit Ashley Barnes' arm. They're looking at all the different angles. Look, if you look at the first angle, it looks as though it hits Thiago kind of mid-chest, mid-stomach, but they're trying to see, I think, if it brushes off his right arm before it hits his
I don't
stomach.
think it does.
I don't either, but they're looking at it in such minute detail, and they're zooming in.
They are indeed, and I don't think there's enough there factually to be able to rule that goal out, and it hasn't. It's gone in, and do you know what? When you're in form, goals just come off you, because that has just hit him in the chest and bounced into the corner of the goal. And when you're hot, and Thiago at the moment is absolutely boiling.
Well, it takes him on to 20 goals for the season. Probably the other 19 he scored have been better, but
much
Glenn
better,
Murray,
but it does
former
not
Premier League
matter.
Striker, exactly.
I can tell you, it does not matter how it goes in off your body. I had one in the FA Cup at West Brom, and it came off a part of my body, and I didn't care about it. I was very happy about it. It still counts the same.
What part would that be, or are we going to leave that out?
Let that lie.
So 1-1 as West Ham come forward with Traore, looking for the immediate reaction down under the challenge of Michael Coyote.
That's a penalty.
Nothing doing from referee Andy Madley, but referee Glenn Murray up here in the stands is very, very clear.
Do you know what? He's really struggled with him. Coyote's had a fantastic season in the Premier League this year, but up against Traore, I think this is one of the most I've seen him struggle, just against that pace, that power. And I am looking forward to seeing this again, because I think Coyote goes through the back of Traore. It is on the opposite side of the field. We are a long way back in our gantry position here as a little excuse, but let's see.
As Yarmouth picks it up outside the D. Brentford coming forward. Ball's not gone out of play, so they won't. Well, they will be checking VAR, but until there's a stoppage, we won't hear anything from Andy Madley, as Coyote, heavily involved at the other end, gets involved at the far end for Brentford, but that's a poor ball across from Matara. And Nuno Espirito Santo is making the point to the assistant right next to him. We are going to have another look here, and again we do have VAR. It's been quite busy for them so far. Well, we're just seeing a freeze frame at the moment, which isn't really helped to any of us. But he's coming over to the screen. Glenn Murray, you've been a commentator, you've been a referee this evening, and you've got both of them spot on. Well, Andy Madley's coming to the screen, and this, we think, will be a penalty for West Ham.
Well, he hasn't quite changed his mind yet. It's looking like he will. It's a really bad angle they're showing him on the VAR, and they keep showing him stills. I don't understand why they're showing him a still and why it's not running properly. Yeah, it's a really fun one. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, this is a penalty without doubt. Traore is going away from goal, he's going towards the corner flag. Coyote sticks, for some reason, I'm not sure why, sticks his leg in between the two of Traore's, doesn't get anywhere near the ball, bowls the West Ham man over, and this will be a penalty.
Well, he's having a good look, Andy Madley. I don't think, really, you need too much more than 1-2, but as Glenn says, the technology wasn't quite working. But here is the in-stadium announcement. There you go. Penalty to West Ham and a chance to retake the lead. And Glenn Murray, you called it straight away. It is so clumsy from Michael Coyote.
Yeah, he struggled this evening against Traore. And there's no need to make the challenge either. It's in the 18-yard box. He's going out, the West Ham man, towards the corner flag, away from goal. And he just dangles that leg. It gives Traore the opportunity to go over. And I just see a close-up of Nuno Espirito Santos, arms in the air. He knew right away. And this is a huge opportunity for West Ham to go back in front. And this game has got a lovely ebb and flow to it, hasn't it, Vicky?
It really does. It's a cliche, but it does feel like a proper FA Cup tie. And Jared Bowen already on the score sheets for West Ham this evening. Has the ball in his hands, ready to place it on the spot. Thiago had equalised for Brentford. It was Nathan Collins' header that brushed off Thiago's chest. And after a long check for handball, they let that stand at the other end. But Jared Bowen with the chance to put West Ham ahead once more at the London Stadium, up against Caoimhín Kelleher. It's Bowen. He goes left. He beats Kelleher. All ends up. Kelleher went the wrong way. And Jared Bowen's got two. West Ham have got two, and they're back ahead in this FA Cup fifth round tie.
Yeah, it's a top penalty, isn't it, by Jared Bowen. Just passes in that left-hand corner, whips it, a little bit of schwaz on it. Good pace, good power. Goalkeeper goes the wrong way. A really assured penalty by the West Ham man. Second goal of the evening. And I know what I'll be thinking. He won't be thinking about the next round. He'll be thinking about a third.
Once a striker, always a striker. Glenn Murray with us here on 5 Live. Well, it takes Jared Bowen into double figures for the season, his 10th of the campaign. Maybe Caoimhín Kelleher was watching you point Right. Did you think he was
Well,
going right?
I do think there is a tendency for left-footed penalty takers to pull it back across themselves. I think that's kind of the natural way to go. Maybe the easier way, possibly, but he doesn't. He does very well. But listen, I think on situations like that, there's such an advancement in technology. I'm sure that being the penalty taker, Jarrod Bowen will have.
Well, West Ham in a really good spell at the moment. Mohamedou Kante robbing Brentford over on that far side and thumping it off Christopher Ayer for a West Ham corner. They are in the mood for more. They lead by 2-1, and they've responded really well in this game to a good start from Brentford. Then they took the lead, West Ham. They were the better side. Brentford paid them back. They've gone up the other end. They've won a penalty, and now they've got a corner.
Yeah, they're going forward in flurries, aren't they, West Ham? I think Brentford has still been the better team throughout. But West Ham, when they go forward, they look dangerous.
So corner to be taken from the far side for West Ham. Plenty of movement in the 6-yard box. It's a poor delivery. It's cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box by Dunga Batara, and that was a loose touch by Kyle Walker-Peters, but Damsgaard won't get in there. Walker-Peters has to be careful here because Thiago had anticipated the back pass, but Walker-Peters gets enough on it. Areola will send it to Bowen on the halfway line, but Brentford make the interception and should be able to wriggle their way through. No. Dispossessed by Jarrod Bowen, who plays it out to the right-hand side, and Adama Traore. West Ham leading by 2-1. It's Traore down by the byline. He's got an option of trying to trick his way into the penalty area. He's got 2 pale blue Brentford shirts there with him. He pulls it back to Kyle Walker-Peters, who will lay it off to Mateus Fernandes. And West Ham, they're not going to force it here. They're just going to slow the play down and look to pick their way through. And that's a lovely ball by Mateus Fernandes. Socek almost dispossessed. Mohamedou Kante, the 20-year-old, really growing in confidence in this game, plays it out to the left-hand side, and Ollie Scar's getting involved, urged to shoot, instead tried to play it through to Pablo. He can't trap it. It's through with Kelleher. West Ham 2, Brentford 1.
Yeah, playing well at the moment. West Ham aren't they, in around that Brentford 18-yard box. But the point I was going to go on to make about Jarrod Bowen is that even though left footers have got a tendency to pull that ball back across on penalties, the technology that they're given these days and the analysis, he would have known Kelleher's last 10 penalties, would have looked at it from a left footer's point of view, where he's gone on those penalties, what he's most likely to do. But also, on the other hand, Kelleher will have had that information on Jarrod Bowen as well. So it's a very cat and mouse situation. Jarrod Bowen, without doubt, coming out on top.
Yeah, he's probably got it on a water bottle somewhere. Kelleher, as Nathan Collins moves over the halfway line for Brentford, who trail by 2-1 here. Brentford have only lost 1 of their last 7. It's Keane Lewis Potter driving forward into the penalty area. Oh, lovely footwork, Lewis Potter. Ooh, what's he brought down there? It's gone out of play for a corner. Keith Andrews appealing. Glenn Murray's punched me in the arm. What is it? Penalty, Glenn?
Do you know what? He goes flying in there, doesn't he? He does very, very well. He tiptoes and dances into the box past players, doesn't he? I actually think that Kante might get a touch on the ball, which therefore makes it a corner kick. Right decision, this time by the referee. In real time, should I say.
So, corner to Brentford. Yeah, it's one of those where Lewis Potter, the way he went down, to be fair, I was of the same opinion as Glenn Murray to my right. But VAR are happy with this. And it will be a corner to Brentford from this near side. Looking to equalise for the second time in this game at the London Stadium. It's swung into that crowded 6-yard box. Too easy for Areola, who claims, and the West Ham fans around the London Stadium applaud, because once again they are enjoying what they're seeing from their side.
Yeah, they are indeed. Definitely come to life in the last 20 minutes, I would say. West Ham slow to start the game, but definitely starting to find their fluidity going forward. I think Traore has been very, very good. I've liked Kante's performance so far. Fernandes, as always, very good for West Ham, and their man on this right-hand side, who is ever reliable, Jarrod Bowen, with a couple of goals.
Here goes Ollie Scars down the left-hand side for West Ham. He's got Traore ahead of him, but opts to go in field instead to Mateus Fernandes. West Ham 2, Brentford 1. Here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A home tie against Leeds in the quarter-finals awaits the winners of this one. Has to finish on the night, as it always does now in the FA Cup these days. So it could be extra time, could be penalties. It's West Ham with the 1-goal advantage at the moment, leading 2-1 as Damsgaard has it. Plays the ball forward, looking for the run of Ouattara down that right-hand side. It's over the head of Scars, and Ouattara's in here. Did Scars pull him back there? Ouattara in the end pulls it back to Sharda, who then goes down. Again, more Brentford howls for a penalty. Again, referee Andy Madley unmoved. Well, there are a couple of options there. Brentford still have a player down inside the area. They're coming forward down the left-hand side still. It's Keane Lewis Potter. Got options in the centre. It's gone behind off Walker Peters for a corner, and now Brentford continue their appeals for a penalty, and it has been a busy night for VAR.
It is. Well, Ouattara's got the beating of Ollie Scars on that far side. He goes past him over and over again, and he does tread on his foot, Fernandez. Sade just gets back to that pull back. He controls the ball, and as he controls the ball, Fernandez steps in and he steps on top of Sade's foot. That's why he stayed down, and there's a big wince from Fernandez. And it looks like play on has been granted. I'm very surprised with this because Sade is still down.
Well, that is fascinating. You're right, Glenn, because they announced that VAR were checking. Now it's up on the screen saying it's complete, no foul. I mean, that's got to be one of those where they say, look, not every contact is a foul, but Sade gets to the ball first, then he's clearly caught. Brentford is still protesting. Again, it's about the clear and obvious bar. Is this a case of if it's given on field, it doesn't get overturned?
Well, yeah, I mean, they want that high bar for overturning things, don't they? But listen, we've got VAR in the game for a reason, and for me, that is a challenge in the box where there's contact to Sade's foot, good contact, heavy contact, that doesn't allow him to pick his foot back up. It pins his foot on the ground. And for me, even when I get a look at Fernandez's reaction and his wince, he knows that is a penalty. But West Ham have got away with it.
Brentford, I think, are going to be fuming about that. They've taken the corner, it's whipped in, cleared away at the far post, not quite out of the penalty area yet. Sade up to his feet, will head it back to Nathan Collins. And Traore gets there, and Collins on the stretch went to ground and just got something on the ball to stop Traore counter-attacking for West Ham. Brentford have it over on the far side. Traore's dispossessed with Tara, and he's won the goal kick as well. Traore is having a stormer.
Yeah, he's been superb, hasn't he, in both senses, going forward and defensively. When he's been asked that question to go the other way, I just see him and Fernandez, big high fives. Fernandez is enjoying his performance of his winger to the left of him, but Brentford are still very much in this game.
And that is a big talking point. Should they have had a penalty? Unless there's an angle we're not seeing, it doesn't look like Fernandez gets anything of the ball, certainly makes contact with Kevin Sade, and I think from a Brentford perspective they're going to be really frustrated by that. But it was a relatively quick check from VAR as West Ham come down the other end. Bowen, 2 goals for the evening, loses out just outside the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Brentford over the halfway line. Too much on that for Ouattara. Nice control by Ollie Scars, who plays it forward looking for Adama Traore. That will bounce out of play for a throw to Brentford, taken quickly by Coyote. 3 minutes plus added time to play at the end of this first half. West Ham 2, Brentford 1. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, but without doubt Brentford need to keep getting the ball to Ouattara. He's got the beating of Ollie Scars. He's gone past him on numerous occasions this evening. Keep getting the ball to him, keep asking questions of Scars, keep being that supply line, and eventually, like we say, it feels as though they got away with one. West Ham, they should have had a penalty, Brentford. That opportunity will arise because they look like they're in the mood for goals.
Igor Thiago, good hold-up play, lays it off for Brentford midway through the West Ham half, and here is Mikel Damsgaard. Now Henderson plays it forward to Michael Coyote. He's got Ouattara on the outside, and he uses him now. Ouattara plays it into Ollie Scars. He wins that particular battle, but then it just comes off the front of his toe, and he concedes the corner, and he slaps the pitch with both hands in frustration, Ollie Scars. That is a real battle, isn't it, down that right-hand side for Brentford between Ouattara and Scars.
Yeah, it is, and so far Ouattara's coming out on top. I tell you who is starting to just dictate play slightly, Damsgaard, starting to get on the ball a little bit for Brentford, starting to spray those passes, starting to set the tempo.
So Dango Ouattara over on the far side, ready to take this corner for Brentford as they look for the equaliser again in this game just before half-time. It's deep from Ouattara, it's flicked towards goal and cleared away off the line. Nathan Collins was up there again, Brentford still have it. Yarmulke, Collins wants it, Collins heads it back across goal, and West Ham that time will clear through Pablo up towards halfway. What a chance for Brentford's equaliser.
Yeah, Collins does well, gets across that front post, doesn't he? Big, powerful centre-back, physically, aerially dominant, flicks it towards that far corner. Not sure who makes that block actually. wait to see a rerun. I'm not sure if it came off his own man or not.
Yeah, there are a couple of players in there. I think one of them might have been Ollie Scars. Certainly, it was cleared away from just in front of the goal line as Mikael Damsgaard picks it up once more. This is a good end to this first half of Brentford, but they trail by 2-1 in this FA Cup tie here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Lewis Potter lays it off to Damsgaard just outside the penalty area. Damsgaard gets it back from Yarmalouk. That's a nice little 1-2. Yarmalouk, left-hand side down to the byline, just about keeps that ball in and will win a throw for Brentford deep in West Ham territory. West Ham 2, Brentford 1.
Yeah, you say that Brentford are ending the half. Well, I think it's been a good half for Brentford. I know they find themselves 2-1 down. One is a personal mistake, unfortunately for them, with Coyote. But I think this half has been Brentford's half. They will feel hard done by going in at half-time.
And particularly, I'm sure from their perspective they'll feel they could have had a penalty, which would have given them a great chance to make it 2-2. Coyote launches the long throw in, it's flicked across the 6-yard box, headed away by Souček. West Ham still can't get it out of the penalty area. They're appealing for a handball against Brentford. It's not given. Coyote has it, left-hand side of the box. He's challenged, and it will be a goal kick. Got a no deflection on the way through as we enter 6 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. West Ham 2, Brentford 1, Glenn Murray.
Ayer and Collins are causing all sorts of problems, aren't they? It is actually Scars. Just see a rerun of that on the back post. As Collins reaches it, Scars bends down and he gets there just before Keane Lewis Potter, because Keane Lewis Potter has already kind of lowered his head to try and steer that ball further goalwards. But yeah, the two centre-backs of Brentford have been dominant in the opposition box so far.
Yeah, vital goal line clearance from Ollie Scars to preserve West Ham's advantage in this FA Cup tie as Nuno paces around his technical area. Was asked about his first memories of the FA Cup in his press conference ahead of this game. Says they go all the way back to the 1980s when the FA Cup final was the only game shown on television in Portugal. It means a lot to me, he says. So does staying in the Premier League. He made 7 changes for this one. But it's still a strong West Ham side, although you've got the likes of Crescencio Somerville, Tati Castellanos on the bench. And they lead Brentford by 2-1. But here goes Kevin Schade, challenged by Mateus Fernandes. And Souček will try and bring that ball away. Little swipe from Damsgaard, who gives a hop, skip and a jump of frustration. And as the whistle goes from referee Andy Madley, and West Ham have a free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, got caught there a little bit, didn't he, Souček? You could see Damsgaard run at him. He just had to chop it in one direction, hope that the Brentford man didn't read it. Because of his pressing, couldn't quite change direction quickly enough and chops Souček down.
So long ball forward from Mavropanos for West Ham, looking for Jarrod Bowen. 2-goal Jarrod Bowen, which has given West Ham this 2-1 advantage. Thiago scoring just about glancing off his chest at the other end for Brentford as Jarrod Bowen picks it up. Lovely work down the right hand side. Was he brought down there by Lewis Potter? No, I think Lewis Potter got something on the ball, but that is going to be a corner kick to West Ham.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration there from Keane Lewis Potter, because he's the man that gives the ball back to Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen edging towards that 18-yard box, manages to recover, sweep that left foot around him, gives the corner away. This is another opportunity for West Ham to try and get a little bit further in front in a key moment in the game.
And as Glenn Murray says, it does feel like this could be a pivotal point as Ollie Scars swings it in. It's headed back across goal. Oh, it's off the bar. Disasi with a swipe, complete miscue from 3 yards and can't force it home for West Ham after that ball had ricocheted off the crossbar. Bowen has it, lays it back to Scars, and now Kyle Walker-Peters out to Bowen on the right hand side. West Ham rattling the woodwork at the end of this first half, and Bowen's been clipped there as Watara tried to bring the ball away for Brentford. It's a free kick to West Ham midway through the Brentford half, right hand side. They could be 3-1 up.
Yeah, and it's Souček deep at the back post. All he can do is help it back across, and it's actually Kelleher that pulls it from below the bar, and he pulls it back into traffic in the 6-yard box. He actually palms it right to Disasi, who can't quite react quick enough. I think he bends his head to head it, he hits his knee, he controls it, and then he scoops a left-footed shot towards goal without much power. Brentford do just about enough to scramble it away.
West Ham with the free kick, a lovely delivery by Mateus Fernandes, brilliant save by Kelleher, and Brentford somehow get it away. Advantage played. There was a foul there in the Brentford penalty area on a Brentford player. Advantage was played. It's not really ended up as an advantage for Brentford, and West Ham have it back, but Andy Madley happy to let play continue as Michael Kayode will reach that ball over the top and shepherd it back to Caoimhín Kelleher, who might have just kept Brentford in this FA Cup tie in the stroke of half-time.
Yeah, he has. It was the save of the evening so far. Superb save by the Irishman. Thomas Souček is like a magnet in the box, isn't he? He just knows how to find space and manoeuvre himself to be able to get on the end of balls. The ball's drifting away from him. He breaks that offside line and he heads it down to Kelleher's left-hand side with pace, with power. The Irishman equal to it, low down, strong left arm, keeps his side in the tie.
And here come Brentford at the other end. Kayode's delivery, headed away by Mavropanos. Sharda has it taken off his toes on the edge of the box and thumps up towards halfway by Mohamedou Kante. Collected by Brentford once more. Here's Nathan Collins. West Ham 2, Brentford 1. Deep in added time at the end of what's been a very entertaining first half here at the London Stadium. And that's a lovely ball by Damsgaard. If Ouattara can reach it, can't quite do so. Sliding challenge by Mavropanos, perfectly timed. Ball out of play for a Brentford throw, and Michael Kayode might just have time to launch this in, and that is almost as good as a corner for Brentford.
Yeah, especially the way their centre-halves have been. Ayer and Collins got quite a few first contacts of balls into the West Ham box. It's just that second bit. Can someone, one of their teammates, get the final touch?
So into the final minute of added time at the end of the first half. It's long from Kayode, edge of the 6-yard box. West Ham just about clear it as it bounced all the way through. It's fired back into the area, blocked on the edge of the box by West Ham once more. They're a little hesitant in clearing though. Mohamedou Kante swipes it out to this right-hand side. It's going to go out for another Brentford throw, and they've got 20 seconds in which to take it, but referee Andy Madley has just stopped play because Brentford's have a player still down.
It's Henderson, I think, went up for a header just outside the 18-yard box, and it's one of those where you go up and someone just holds you in the air, takes your legs, Kante takes your legs from underneath you, and you land your full weight on your hip. And let me tell you, these pitches may look pristine, but they haven't got much giving them these days, and that one has really rattled Jordan Henderson, hasn't it? It's one of those ones that rattles right through your bones. Just hope he's going to be able to continue here, the Brentford man.
Yeah, the Brentford medical staff are on. I guess the positive for Brentford is once Kayode has launched this long throw in, that's going to be it. It's going to be half time, so they can at least get him off, give him 5 or 10 minutes or so, see how he's doing. But Jordan Henderson, certainly not a player to stay down, so there is a bit of concern here about whether he will be able to continue. West Ham 2, Brentford 1, but Brentford will have his final opportunity of the half to launch this long throw in once Henderson has received treatment. The winners of this game will play Leeds at home in the quarter-finals. Elsewhere, Southampton will host Arsenal. Port Vale's reward for beating Sunderland is a trip to Chelsea, and Manchester City at home to Liverpool. Plenty of action coming up for you on 5 Live across the weekend, starting with the Cheltenham Festival that gets underway tomorrow. First race at 1:20. You can listen to commentary of every single race on 5 Sports Extra, and the feature race at 4 o'clock will be broadcast every day on 5 Live, and we've got 5 Champions League commentaries this week for you as well. It all gets underway at 5:45 tomorrow as Galatasaray take on Liverpool. Do join us this week on 5 Live and BBC Sounds for what will be a thrilling couple of days in Europe. So Jordan Henderson is up to his feet. He's going to have to go off because the medical staff have come on. Yeah, well, Yarmouk's been over to receive a few instructions.
I'm just laughing because it's a really ginger walk by Jordan Henderson. It's one of those ones where you've fallen all your weight on your hip, maybe even knocked the wind out of yourself, and it's just kind of getting back moving a little bit as he just makes his way off the pitch. And what we are going to see is another long throw from Brentford.
Yeah, temporarily down to 10. Michael Kayode is going to launch it on. As Glenn Murray touched on before the game, they've got a really stretched bench, Brentford. They've got a lot of players out injured. There's a lot of youngsters on there. Do have Matthias Jensen, who could come on for Henderson if necessary. Let's see what they can do from this throw. Kayode launches it in. West Ham get it out of the penalty area. They might be able to counter here. It's been won back by Ayer. He's lost it. Here's Bowen out to the right-hand side, but that will be that. No more time to play in this first half, and it's West Ham who lead Brentford by 2-1, courtesy of a double from Jarrod Bowen. Thiago with a glance off his chest that he didn't really know very much about from Nathan Collins' header, racking up his 20th of the season for Brentford in between those two. And the big talking point as well, should Brentford have had a penalty late on in this half for a challenge by Fernandes on Kevin Schade. A lot to go at there, Glenn Murray. What's your assessment?
Yeah, it's been a very enjoyable half of football as far as I'm concerned. I think Brentford just about edged it, probably played the nicer football. West Ham were clinical when they needed to be, but ultimately what separates the team is an individual error that Keith Andrews can't account for. Coyote just bringing Traore down, giving that penalty away when he's going away from goal, and that is the difference. Obviously, when you give opportunities like that to Jarrod Bowen, he's never going to pass them up, puts his team 2-1 up. But this game, going into the second half, is poised beautifully. And yes, I do think Brentford will feel harshly done by. They should have had a penalty.
Well, West Ham 45 minutes away from reaching the FA Cup quarter-finals for the first time in a decade. But make no mistake, Brentford are still very much in this. Half-time at the London Stadium. West Ham 2, Brentford 1.
Yeah, 3 goals, 2 penalties checked by VAR, one of them given and fired home by Jarrod Bowen. It is, as Vicky says, West Ham United 2, Brentford 1 at the break, with that tie against Leeds United very much on the horizon over Easter weekend. And Glenn Murray, just looking at this, he's taken his headphones off, and accepted some sweets from our engineer. Glenn,
sorry, Aaron.
Come on, Glenn. Well, you know what? Just so I
missed the question. Go again.
I didn't even ask the question. I just saw you threw your headphones off.
Just like he threw his coffee earlier.
It's confectionery. That's why you're a liability in the press box, not the penalty box. Glenn,
not anymore.
Glenn, all right, look, I'll keep it simple. I know it's a cliche. We are watching a proper cup tie, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I think it's like I said. I really enjoyed that half of football. Both teams really going for it. Both teams want to win, and that won't disperse towards the end of the game and in the second half. I think that tempo will be upkept, because knowing who they've got next, I'm not saying that Leeds is an easy game, but what it is a home game in the quarter-final of a major competition. Who wouldn't want that opportunity?
You can go back to your confectionery now. Loads to come before the second half of West Ham United against Brentford in the company of Vicky and Glenn. The Port Vale boss John Brady will join us to react to his side taking on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and former England captain Chris Robshaw will be here to chat about the England Six Nations performance and that massive game against France on Saturday. All comes after the latest BBC News here on 5 Live with Jill McKenzie.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you. Good evening. President Trump's described the war in Iran as very complete, pretty much, and said it was progressing faster than his initial 4 to 5 week estimate. Speaking to CBS News, the president also said he had someone in mind to replace the country's leader, but didn't say who. State media in Iran is reporting that the force and frequency of its missile launches will increase. Finance ministers from the G7 countries say they're ready to take necessary measures to support the global supply of energy after crude oil reached its highest price since 2022. They've considered releasing strategic oil reserves but made no decision. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves has warned there could be a rise in UK inflation. The Defence Secretary John Healey has given an update to the Commons.
The Iranian regime is a destructive force which has slaughtered protesters in its own streets and inflicts terrible suffering, especially against its own people. We want to see Iran stop their strikes, give up their nuclear ambitions, and restart the negotiations.
Scotland's busiest railway station, Glasgow Central, will be closed until at least Wednesday after a fire destroyed a neighbouring building. ScotRail says the disruption is expected to last for several days. And thousands of parents across Merseyside have been contacted after hoax threats were emailed to some schools. Merseyside police say the threats aren't thought to have been genuine and describe them as malicious communications.
On BBC iPlayer.
The question has become more urgent. How do we sort fact from fiction? How can we believe what we see?
The hit drama returns.
That is not the shooter I saw. Why am I the only one who saw the suspect?
You think this is correction?
Yes, sir. The news footage has been deep-faked.
Do you trust her judgment? I don't trust, period. The new series of The Capture. Famously unreliable things, memories.
You can't hack a memory.
Stranger things have happened. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports. The FA Cup. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, welcome back to the London Stadium, where we will return to the action shortly. It's currently half-time between West Ham and Brentford, with the home side leading by 2-1. The winners of tonight's tie will face Leeds United at home. The draw for the quarterfinals was conducted prior to kick-off right down below us here at the London Stadium. Southampton will take on Arsenal. The other draw, Manchester City against Liverpool, and League One Port Vale, the lowest-ranked side left in the competition, will take a trip to Stamford Bridge. Delighted to say Vale boss John Brady joins us live now. John, your reaction to the draw?
Quite an easy one, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Where were you? Because I understand you weren't at home, you weren't watching the draw. You were out and about when the draw was being made. Was that intentional?
Aaron, yeah, I went for a walk with my dog, mate. I didn't really want to see it, to be honest. I walked through the door and the kids told me that it was Chelsea away.
Fantastic. What an incredible week for Port Vale. It's been a really difficult season, but knocking Bristol City out of the Cup on Tuesday and then Sunderland on Sunday, if you could sandwich some league points in there as well, you'd have a perfect week.
Yeah, well, we have, mate, over the last couple of weeks. We drew with Reading, then we beat Northampton away, then we drew at home with Luton. So we're taking on some big sides in our league. And we've done very well at that. And obviously, you know, we've got a big week ahead this week with Bradford and then Huddersfield. You know, since we've come in, we really have started to pick up some points and started to, well, we haven't gained ground because everyone else has played a lot more games than us. 4, 5. Some teams have played 4 or 5 games more than us at the moment. So we have those games in hand. It's within our grasp to try and catch up with those teams, but you know, we are at the bottom and everyone's above us, and it feels like a bit of a mountain to climb. But our form is good at the moment. We've won 6, drawn 3 in the last 14 matches that we've had since we've come in.
John, is it a good distraction, the FA Cup, for the squad, obviously with the pressures of the league?
I think it's good for the finances for the football club and good for the fans, but realistically, the challenge I was brought in for was to try and mount a challenge to see if we could get close to those teams above us. And it is, for me, it is a bit of a unwanted distraction. But as I've said, I've got to take it as a privilege because, you know, when you get these opportunities as a League One football club, they rarely come along, and for the fans and for our players who richly deserve, you know, what they've done to get here.
Your owner, Carol Shanahan, is an absolute powerhouse of a human being, a phenomenal woman who leads that club and runs it like her family. I understand she didn't make the Bristol City tie because one of her goats was about to give birth. We want to know what the situation with that is, but did she make it for the Sunderland game?
Okay, so the goat still hasn't given birth currently at the moment. It's drawn it out. It is actually milking it. So little pun there, mate. Yeah, Carol came to the game on Saturday, which was great, and obviously she was over the moon, her and Kevin. And you know, as you say, mate, she's told me about the analogy about us this season, and she said football's like a game of, I think I've repeated it a few times, but football's like a game of snakes and ladders. And sometimes you hit a big snake and you go down, or sometimes you hit a big ladder and you go up. But we must stay on the board, she's always told me.
Absolutely. I'm sure she'll be back keeping vigil with Cinnamon right now. Just one more, John, before you leave us. Are you enjoying yourself again? I know you had a bit of time after leaving Northampton Town to reconnect and sort of, you know, take some time with the family, and you were waiting for the right job. Are you enjoying it again?
But I am really enjoying it. Thanks, Aaron. Loving every minute, loving the challenge, mate. And, you know, I've really connected with a group of players. We feel we're making a difference with them, and, you know, they're loving their football at the moment, and we've connected with the fans. So, look, if we do it, great. If we don't do it, we'll try and bounce back next year. And obviously, we've got this FA Cup to contend with, and what a great day out for our fans that'll be.
John, it's going to be quite the Easter weekend for you. Thank you for joining us on 5 Live Sport. That is the Port Vale boss, John Brady, after his side drew Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. Just a reminder, they are bottom of League One, Port Vale, but a magnificent win against Sunderland at Vale Park yesterday sends them through to the bridge. Let's push on and talk rugby and a bit more about the Six Nations as attention turns to England's final game against France this weekend. Former England captain Chris Robshaw joins us. Good evening, Chris. Great to have you on with us. I mean, look, we know there is pressure on Steve Borthwick. He's got the backing of the RFU, and we mentioned with Chris Jones earlier on, he's got the backing of the dressing room. But what do his players need to show that there are improvements, that there is constant improvement rather than a quick fix being made?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Look, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this England side had a golden calendar year unbeaten. They were one of the form sides of World Rugby, one of the top 3 sides, possible World Cup on the horizon, all these amazing things. And in 2 weeks, they've suddenly gone to, do they trust coaches, captains, leadership group, play like the structure of what's going on, and the whole thing's being scrutinised now. And it's interesting because when you're winning, everything's rosy, isn't it? Everything's always great, but as soon as you start losing, cracks start to appear, and it's going to be a test of the culture they've made. So yeah, and look, going over to Paris it's going to be hard. They're hurting as well. They've suffered. I mean, the French as well conceded 50 points to an amazing Scottish team and look completely out of the races. So they're going to have a bounce back as well. So both of these sides, France still are the favourites to win it. But this England side needs to show fight. And I think that's what's really lacked is that kind of, yes, you can drop balls, you miss tackles, but it's always about the work off the ball. It's always about the unseen work. That we talk about the work that takes no talent in terms of when a ball goes in the air, kick chase, who's working hard, who's working back into position that extra second quicker, if they take a quick tap, stuff like that. Because recently we've looked really sluggish, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is. So again, if they can get that energy back in their game, I still believe they're the right managers, they're the right players, but it just looked a bit flat for some reason.
Chris, when you think about, his 4-year tenure, and you look back at it and you look at the defeat to France back in 2023, the Scotland defeat, Fiji beating England as well. I mean, is this sort of nip and tuck for England? Do they need minor adjustments, or is this going to be evolution of a side?
Yeah, I always remember Eddie Jones actually speaking about a similar thing in terms of when he's been looking after squads. Obviously, when you first come into it, when Steve first came into it, there was a massive kind of clear out, really, of kind of older players and getting younger players like blooded, capped, experience into the system. And then you go on like a 2 and a 3 year kind of ride, which you have. And then there becomes a bit of a turning point again, where is it leaderships? Is there some of the older guys which maybe step away? Unfortunately, when Eddie was there, I was one of the guys who got pushed aside being an older guy. Dylan Hartley, his captain, got pushed aside. James Haskell, Mike Brown, Danny Kerr. All these experienced guys suddenly kind of made way. And then the next group kind of came through and brought that energy. So, look, there's definitely something which post-tournament needs to be analysed because, like I said, they were very successful to suddenly go to where they are now, where everyone's almost poking them. And look, we've been in environments before where, as players, you've got to get tighter now because every man and his dog is saying what they think of you and social media is going crazy. And as a group, it's got to really bring them closer because going over to Paris, it's an amazing place to play, but it can also be quite an intimidating environment as well.
It is going to be huge. England's final game against France is live on 5 Live Sports Saturday night from 7:30 with kickoff at 8:10. Some other sports news. Defending champion Rory McIlroy is in a race to be fit for the Players' Championship this weekend. He's delaying travelling to Florida until Wednesday as he battles a back injury. Commentary of rounds 3 and 4 of the Players' Championship will be on Sports Extra this Saturday and Sunday. Let's head back to Indian Wells. Cam Norrie has already won. How's Jack Draper getting on Russell Fuller?
Jack Draper is off to a very good start, breaking the serve of Francisco Cerundolo in the very first game, so he leads by 2-1 against the world number 20 from Argentina. A couple of massive forehands already from Draper, including one spectacular one on the run, and hoping to reach the fourth round, which is where Cameron Norrie finds himself after that fine 6-4, 6-4 win over Alex de Minaur, the world number 6 earlier.
Thank you, Russell. Both sets of players back on the pitch with a quarter-final tie against Leeds United at stake. It's West Ham 2, Brentford 1. The second half comes to you in the company of Glenn Murray and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks very much, Aaron. So the players out on the pitch, and it looks as though West Ham, leading by 2-1 here against Brentford, are going to make a double change. Ezra Mayers is preparing to come on, 19 years of age. And Crescencio Somerville, their in-form man, also going to enter the field. Everybody else is ready to go. The double substitution, however, is not. Now it is, eventually. So, Somerville and Mayers are going to be coming on. And Nuno Espirito Santo just giving final couple of instructions to Crescencio Somerville. And Ollie Scarles is the first player to be replaced by Ezra Mayers, and a double Traore off Crescencio Somerville. Well, Somerville, as you would expect, gets a huge round of applause and a big cheer from the West Ham fans, but Traore had a decent half, Glenn Murray, as West Ham get us underway in this second half.
Yeah, he did change that full left-hand side, Nuno Espirito Santos. I think Ollie Scarles was struggling a little bit with the Tara, so that doesn't surprise me. Mayer's coming on, but Somerville is obviously a positive change because he's the player in the hottest form, I think, in the moment as far as West Ham are concerned. I mean, you could argue the fact that Jarrod Bowen's gone in front of him with 2 goals this evening, but I did think Adama Traore was very positive on the evening, so I'm just wondering if he's picked up some sort of muscle strain, felt something, and it's more precaution.
Yeah, you do wonder that. As you say, as Glenn says, you know, Somerville coming on is a great thing for West Ham, but Traore have been playing well, so I'm sure Nuno Espirito Santo will be asked about that after the game, as the ball goes out of play for a Brentford throw right in front of the West Ham manager. But it does show, Glenn, West Ham leading by 2-1. He's taking this seriously, Nuno Espirito Santo, because he's bringing on a player that, if they are to stay in the Premier League this season, is going to be so crucial for them.
Yeah, without doubt, and right now, when you assess the situation, he's picked the right team, regardless of changes. His team at half-time are in the lead and just about favourites to go into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup.
For the first time in a decade, and they're racing forward again into the penalty area, and the ball is cut back by Jarrod Bowen on a hat-trick. He was unselfish there, trying to feed Pablo, can't do so. And it's collected by Brentford, and they will start to try and build from the left-hand side, and in the end go all the way back to Nathan Collins, who will square it to Ayer. So West Ham leading by 2-1. And with defending to do here, as Ezra Mayers will, between himself and Axel Disasi, clear that ball away, straight out of play, under pressure from Dungo Ouattara. So West Ham now with Areola in goal, the back four of Walker Peters, Mavropanos, Disasi and Mayers, Souček, Fernandez and Kante ahead of them, with Bowen and Somerville supporting Pablo up top. Brentford have made no changes. They will now launch this long throw in with Michael Coyote into the penalty area, looking to get back on level terms. Again, West Ham don't really deal with it. It's scooped towards goal by Nathan Collins. The offside flag is up as the ball loops wide anyway, and that will be a free kick to West Ham inside their own penalty area. So Jordan Henderson, having landed very awkwardly at the end of the first half, is able to continue, and Brentford line up with Kelleher in goal. The back four of Coyote, Ayer, Collins and Lewis Potter. Henderson and Yarmulke ahead of them, with Ouattara, Damsgaard and Schade. Felt he should have had a penalty at the end of that first half. VAR had a look and they were happy, supporting Igor Thiago up front, who has scored his 20th goal of the season, and it is the flukiest goal he'll score all season. Collins' header glancing off his chest. Had a long look to see if there was a handball involved, but VAR in the end happy. That made it 1-1, but a goal either side from Jarrod Bowen from the spot. gives West Ham this 2-1 advantage as Brentford take the throw quickly. Henderson is dispossessed though by Somerville, and West Ham can counter, and it's Somerville over the halfway line, and here goes Jarrod Bowen into the penalty area on a hat-trick, blocked away by Nathan Collins. Bowen will pick it up once more, out to the right-hand side he goes, and Walker-Peters as West Ham look to keep up the momentum. Back to Mateus Fernandes, and forward now they go to Crescencio Somerville. 7 goals for the season, and all of them have come in his last 10 games. He is dispossessed though, and Brentford will move it out to this right-hand side, and West Ham still lead 2-1. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, just to hold on it for a second there, didn't he, Somerville? Just picking up in a couple of good positions there in that kind of 10 position that he adopted. A couple of occasions on West Ham had possession there. But one thing is for sure, every time Jarrod Bowen gets on the ball down that right-hand side, there's a real anticipation and buzz round the stadium, isn't there, Vicky?
Oh, that is a super ball from Christopher Ayer out to the left-hand side. Brentford players tumbling. Goal kick is given from Keane Lewis-Potter's delivery. Tango Ouattara is still appealing inside the 6-yard box. Kevin Schade as well. Again, we've got VAR. They've had a busy evening so far. Again, it's another appeal for a Brentford penalty. What do we reckon, Glenn Murray?
No, I don't think this is a penalty. Ouattara just gets on the inside of Myers. That ball's whipped in. There's a little bit of a coming together. I don't think it deems persistent holding or enough to warrant a penalty. As play continues.
And VAR agree with Glenn Murray as Areola launches the ball towards halfway, and Pablo out to the right-hand side. That won't quite be kept in. And the ball goes out of play for a Brentford throw on the halfway line. West Ham leading by 2-1. And West Ham, who have been, despite still being at the wrong end of the table, in good form of late. As we said earlier, just 2 losses in their last 10 games. They've won 6, they've drawn 2, they've lost 2. And they are winning here at the London Stadium against the Brentford side, who have been so good on the road of late. In fact, they've collected more away points in 2026, Brentford, than any other Premier League side. They've won 7 of their last 9 away games in all competitions. But they trail here. A side that are 7th in the Premier League, pushing for Europe, against a West Ham side who remain 18th, but only behind Nottingham Forest on goal difference now after the midweek games. Coyotes preparing to launch this in for Brentford, but what a scrap we've got at the bottom now, Glenn Murray.
Well, and you fail to remember, and a point behind Tottenham Hotspur, who are the surprise package at the bottom of the league.
Yes, not a surprise package that they would be pleased with at all. What a season it's been for Tottenham. But again, going well in Europe, as Brentford work the ball out to the left-hand side, and Keane Lewis-Potter has got Kevin Schade ahead of him, and Schade's done well, taking on Kyle Walker-Peters. Down to the byline he goes, dangerous delivery, clipped away by Axel Disasi on the edge of the 6-yard box, out for a Brentford throw, deep in West Ham territory. 6 minutes gone in this second half. West Ham 2, Brentford 1.
A relatively quiet evening for Schade. I thought we would have seen a little bit more of him. Brentford have preferred this right-hand side. I just showed there, he has got the beating of Kyle Walker-Peters.
So Michael Coyote on the far side, preparing to launch this long throw in. Plenty of light blue shirts to aim for. It's flicked across, and Schade will loop up the header, and Areola right underneath his crossbar claims well.
Well, they've done it about 8 times, haven't they? That long throw in this time. It's a throw to feet. Keane Lewis-Potter just shows, flicks it round the corner, and Schade does get first contact on it. Gets a little bit too much height on the header. Right direction, because it is going to drop in the top corner. It gives plenty of time for Areola to move his feet and catch it relatively easily.
So Crescencio Somerville brought down just inside the West Ham half, and it will be a free kick to the home side. It's netted in both FA Cup games this season. Somerville got the opener in the 3rd round win against QPR, the extra time winner in the 4th rounds against Burton. Indeed, both of West Ham's FA Cup games this season have gone to extra time against lower league opposition, as they have it and win a throw 1/3 of the way inside the Brentford half. It is actually the first time in this season's competition that either West Ham or Brentford have faced a Premier League side. And these are the first goals, in fact, that Brentford have conceded in the FA Cup this season, as nice work by Pablo finds Somerville down the left-hand side for West Ham, down to the byline. He's up against Coyote. Somerville, the ball sticking to his feet like glue, but trying to trick his way past Ouattara. can't do so. Thiago coming short, losing out to Axel Disasi, who's really stepped up for West Ham here, the centre half. Thiago gets the foot in. Which way is this throw going to go? It's going to go the way of West Ham.
Yeah, he's done well, Disasi, hasn't he? Been so close to Thiago all evening, especially when he's got his back to goal. I know as a former striker myself, it's a real nightmare when someone's so tight on you, doesn't give you any space, constantly pressing you from behind.
Nice turn by Pablo and a nice 1-2 as well. Pulls the ball across. He was looking for Jarrod Bowen. Brentford make the interception right on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's a West Ham corner. 9 minutes gone in the second half. They still lead 2-1.
What's the odds Thomas Souček gets first contact on this ball? He has done on most occasions when it's went into the Brentford box.
As he has looked so dangerous. The tall check from set-piece situations this evening, as he so often does. It's Somerville who has this corner on the near side. Souček just inside the penalty area. He's now going to drift around to the back post. The claret shirts are on the move, and it does go to Souček. He didn't quite get first contact there. Sharda's not too sure it's gone. Now Souček sends it back across right into Sharda on the edge of the 6-yard box, who will clear to Damsgaard. Plays it into Mateus Fernandes, and he didn't quite keep that in. Mateus Fernandes on the far side. It's a Brentford throw.
Well, questionable if he got first contact, but he definitely got second contact.
So, throw to Brentford, deep in their own territory. Trailing by 2-1 as Nuno Espirito Santo paces on the edge of his technical area. And Brentford look for a way out. West Ham really pushing up here, so Brentford will launch it long towards Thiago, who plays it right back into the centre of his own half, and that wasn't a good ball because he's played it straight to Crescencio Somerville into the penalty area. Little deflection, just bounces on the roof of the net. Oh, that looked like for all the world it was drifting in for West Ham's third, but instead it's just a corner on the far side, and they still lead by the 2-1.
Well, he picks it up about 35 yards from goal, doesn't he? And he can turn on a sixpence. He's so sharp, Somerville. Eventually, Coyote does get back at him, but he keeps possession of the football, manages to steer a shot goalwards, hits Coyote, loops up and over and onto the top of the bar, onto the top of the net, should I say.
A man in real form, and you can just see it there with that little flash of confidence as Jarrod Bowen swings the delivery in, and it's straight into the arms of Caoimhín Kelleher, who sets Brentford away sharpish with Kevin Sharda. It's got Thiago racing through the centre. Sharda then goes down under the challenge of Crescencio Somerville, and it will be a free kick to Brentford on the halfway line as Keith Andrews comes out to the edge of his technical area. You mentioned this before the game, Glenn, but in terms of game changes from the bench, West Ham have a lot more that they can do in that department in terms of senior players than Brentford do.
Yeah, they have, and I think that change at half-time, especially the Somerville change, has really shown, hasn't it? West Ham so far have been the better side in the second half. Brentford haven't quite found their fluidity and flow yet, as we saw in the first.
They're in possession on the halfway line in this FA Cup 5th round tie here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A home tie against Leeds United awaits the winners. And at the moment, if it stays like this, that will be West Ham as Coyote steers it back to Jordan Henderson, who looks to be moving pretty freely after landing very painfully on his hip in the first half.
Yeah, always hurts those old bones a little bit more, but I'm sure it's like rest at half-time. It was good, didn't stiffen up too much.
One ball over the top will be chased by Pablo. Aya has to be careful and steers the header to Henderson, who fizzes the ball out to that left-hand side as Brentford will build once more with Yehor Yarmouk on his 100th Brentford appearance. Steers it back to Nathan Collins, and now Mikael Damsgaard. Almost dispossessed there by Mamadou Kante. Brentford eventually do manage to tidy that up with Aya.
Yeah, he's just in front of his two centre-backs, doesn't he? He opens his body up to try and swing it out to this right-hand side, but just at the last minute tries to chop inside the closing defender, or midfielder, should I say, from West Ham. He nearly gets robbed.
Yeah, given away again by Brentford Coyote that time, but Sharda does well to dispossess Pablo, and that's a real wasted opportunity for West Ham, and the game just becoming a little bit open, and Damsgaard trying to take advantage. Here's Jordan Henderson, ball forward, might be too much on it for Kevin Sharda. There is too much on it, and it's a goal kick to West Ham, and just a little bit of sloppiness creeping in from both sides.
Yeah, just started to open up the game, didn't it, Vicky? And once it arrives at Jordan Henderson, Man of his quality, you expect to be better. He's got plenty of space to play that ball in for Kevin Sade. Just puts a little bit too much on it. Can't catch it, Sade. But they have changed sides, I noticed. Sade has switched from left to right, and Atara right to left. Just change things up slightly.
And West Ham are going to change things up again. They made a double change at half-time, and Tati Castellanos is preparing to come on as the ball goes out of play for a Brentford throw. So 13 and a half minutes gone in the second half, and Nuno shuffling the pack once more. They still lead by 2-1. And Tati Castellanos will come on for Pablo Felipe, and given that Pablo's only just back in this game from a calf injury, he hasn't played for just over a month, you would imagine that this has always been planned.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Right on pretty much the 60-minute mark. Get an hour in your legs. Been good for him. Hasn't been too involved. Nothing really been created for him. But good fitness for the West Ham man. Comes through injury-free.
So Tati Castellanos, 3 goals since arriving from Lazio in January. His first job is to help defend this long throw from Brentford's Michael Coyote towards the penalty spot, and West Ham should be able to clear through Jarrod Bowen, who chests it down and thumps it over the halfway line. Bowen, who's scored twice for West Ham this evening to take his tally to 10 for the season. Their leading scorer, their captain. Thiago's on to 20 after glancing. Brentford's initial equaliser in from a Nathan Collins header. Didn't really know too much about it as it came off his chest, but it's West Ham who lead by 2-1. It's West Ham who are coming forward once more down the right-hand side with Jarrod Bowen. And they will continue to build with Mateus Fernandes. Forward to Souček, who goes down, and the whistle does go from referee Andy Madley. And West Ham have a free kick on the far side, third of the way inside the Brentford half. West Ham 2, Brentford 1, on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Does well there. Souček caught in a difficult situation for a man of his capabilities. Just uses his body, protects the ball. Sade does just enough to bring him down. Buys West Ham a free kick, should I say, over on that right-hand side. And what is going to be an opportunity for Fernandes to swing it in, and so far they've been good from these set-piece positions.
So Mateus Fernandes raises his left arm in the air, drives the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Sharda leaps for Brentford, wins the header. Brentford then let it bounce, and the header eventually out to the right-hand side, looking for Coyote, but West Ham will keep it in, down by the corner flag. It's Mavropanos up from the back, trying to shield possession, but in the end can't do much with it, and Brentford will have the goal kick. West Ham 2, Brentford 1 it remains.
Yeah, Mavropanos there just trying to protect it in the corner. And unfortunately, clumsily kicks it out for a goal kick for Brentford.
So Queeving Kelleher in possession, all in bright orange inside his own penalty area. A tie at home to Leeds United awaits the winners of this in the quarter-final. Southampton will host Arsenal. Port Vale of League One travel to Chelsea, and Manchester City play Liverpool. That is your FA Cup last 8. As Brentford's win a throw midway through the West Ham half, and Coyote takes it short this time. They're preparing to bring on Matthias Jensen. That is one of the limited senior options that Brentford have on their bench, as Somerville, is he brought down there by Yarmouk? Yes, there was a little trip, and it will be a free kick to West Ham just inside their own half.
Yeah, Jensen getting ready to come on the field of play now. This first substitution for Brentford is going to be made. Just wondering if it's Yarmouk. I wonder if it was going to be Henderson after that fall at the end of the first half, but it's Yarmouk. Jensen coming on just to try and get a foothold, start controlling this game like they did in the first half, because so far in the second, West Ham have been much better.
Well, that's good news in terms of Jordan Henderson, who of course will be hoping to go to the World Cup with England this summer. He must be fine, otherwise sure Keith Andrews wouldn't be taking a chance with him. So Jensen on, scored a late goal here in October to wrap up a 2-0 victory. That was a very comfortable day for Brentford. This is not. They need a goal.
I think it's important to say as well, this is a very different West Ham they're facing, isn't it? That was a West Ham low on confidence, didn't really know which way to turn. This is a West Ham without doubt with their tails up.
Yeah, Nuno had only just taken over at that point. Took a while for West Ham to get into their stride under him, but they certainly are doing so now. But Brentford's trying to build up the pressure here. They've won another throw deep in West Ham territory as they look for this equaliser here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 18 minutes gone in this second half, and Coyote's going to launch it in again.
Yeah, one thing they won't stop doing is putting this ball in the box and asking questions. All evening they've done it. They won't go away from their key principles.
And Coyote does get the distance on it again. Good header away by Mavropanos for West Ham, and this is where West Ham can counter if they can get the ball away. Mateus Fernandes does. Down on the right-hand side, go West Ham. And they'll just stop and check with Kyle Walker-Peters. No need to force it. Mohamedou Kante now just inside the West Ham half central position. Will work it out to the left-hand side, and Axel Disasi. And now Ezra Mayers to Somerville, all the way back to Disasi. Thiago putting on the pressure for Brentford as they go back. West Ham to Areola, cleared by Mavropanos. Rather didn't catch that cleanly, but the ball forward from Brentford is poor, and Mavropanos is there, and this time picks the pass with a little more composure as Walker-Peters plays it forward to Jarrod Bowen. Still on the hat-trick, the West Ham captain. Receives it back just inside the Brentford half, and will switch the play looking for Crescencio Somerville. That's a beautiful ball from Bowen, and Somerville collects down by the byline. Crescencio Somerville into the area for West Ham, pulls the ball across, can't be converted, slammed in from Souček, blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. Mayers picks it up on the edge of the penalty area, lays it off to Mohamedou Kante, who chips it to the far side. A bit of tussling and pushing and shoving, and eventually the whistle goes. Souček deemed to have committed the foul. Free kick to Brentford inside their own penalty area, but this was a big chance for West Ham.
Well, it was wing to wing, wasn't it? Bowen to Somerville. Somerville one-on-one. Coyote's terrified, doesn't want to engage him at all. He's got the back pedal on so much that he nearly falls over, and who's he trying to find when he does put it into the box? Somerville. It's actually the crashing Bowen. Manages to get taken off Bowen's toe end and just falls nicely in and around the kind of 16-yard mark. And who's strolling onto it as always, times his run so well, doesn't he? Thomas Souček doesn't quite get the purchase on with his left foot. Cleared away, but West Ham trying to extend their lead and put this game beyond Brentford.
And it's Brentford now, though, who are coming strong the other end. Lewis Potter plays the ball in, deflection behind, Brentford corner.
Yeah, it is starting to open up now, isn't it, as we approach the last 25 minutes in this game. It's become a right shootout. West Ham trying to stretch that lead, put the game to bed. Brentford trying to get back into it.
So, corner to Brentford over on the far side. They've now got the set-piece specialism of Matthias Jensen to draw upon midway through this second half. West Ham 2, Brentford 1. Brentford pushing for Europe in the Premier League. West Ham just looking to stay in the Premier League.
Well, dare I say, West Ham have coped quite well with these long balls into the box so far this evening.
What can Matthias Jensen do to change that? It's a good delivery. Areola got a good punch on it, and it comes to Somerville. It's got a handball on the edge of the penalty area by Damsgaard. Referee Andy Madley says no. Brentford coming down the left-hand side. Put in from West Ham, and the throw is given.
Well, I think it's Aya. As I said that, I thought, you know what, Brentford will probably score here now. I've said how well West Ham have defended those situations. But I think it's Aya that goes across the front, and he's only a matter of inches of steering that ball goalwards as it fell into that pack, and we get another long throw.
And it will be from Michael Coyote, of course it will. It's real distance on that one. Good punch by Areola, can't get it out of the penalty area. Kept alive by Kevin Schade. West Ham do now get it out of the box, only as far as Coyote. He swings the ball back in, big towering header from Axel Disasi. The shot driven from 30 yards by Keane Lewis Potter, takes the deflection, loops up into the arms of Alphonse Areola. West Ham 2, Brentford 1.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad decision from Keane Lewis Potter. Momentum was starting to build, a little bit of pressure on West Ham, ball after ball going into the box, and Keane Lewis Potter lets them off the leash a little bit there, taking a shot from 35 yards. It'll have to be something extra special to beat the likes of Areola from that distance, who's a wonderful shot stopper.
A lovely interchange between Fernandes, Bowen and Castellanos as West Ham eventually work it out to the right-hand side. Ball flicked in by Mateus Fernandes. Walker-Peters has made the run. Really good defending at the back by Brentford, who should be able to clear now, and they do. And Damsgaard picks it up, still midway through his own half. Out to the left-hand side, and Lewis Potter, that's a good ball to Thiago on the halfway line. And again, the game just becoming a little bit stretched, but that ball from Thiago didn't quite have enough on it to reach Coyote, who made the run forward from right back, and Somerville just got a toe to it. And Mayers And Kante between them should be able to clear for West Ham. They're still penned in their own half at the moment. Axel Disasi has it inside his own penalty area. They're trying to play their way out of trouble, West Ham, and eventually they've done that brilliantly. And it's so interesting, you could hear the nerves turn to relief and then turn to appreciation inside the London Stadium from these West Ham fans, because if West Ham end up scoring at the end of this, it would have been a brilliant move, but just as I say, that Castellanos can't reach that ball ahead of Collins, and it's back with Kelleher.
Well, it was a piece of play of about 10 passes in around their own 18-yard box, and they passed it into midfield, back to the defence, back into midfield, and they bounced it around the closing Brentford players really, really well. And it was eventually appreciated. Like you said, there was an air of nervousness around the stadium, but the players are capable of it.
Long ball over the top from West Ham, should be dealt with by Collins, and it is. Yeah, it's one of those as a fan where you're like, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, it's brilliant. Amazing play. So, Brentford in possession, still trailing by 2-1. Here's Damsgaard midway through the West Ham half. Out to the right-hand side, and Matthias Jensen back in field to Damsgaard, trying to pick the pass and does so to Ouattara. 25 yards out, central position, but he's crowded out of it by claret shirts as Ouattara tries to feed Thiago, cleared away by West Ham. Kante laid off by Castellanos. Mamadou Kante just couldn't take the ball in his stride, and it's intercepted once more by Brentford, and Jensen, who switches the play out to the left-hand side. It's a beautiful ball laid off to Kevin Schade, still outside the penalty area, pulls it back to Jordan Henderson midway through the West Ham half. Brentford attacking from left to right here at the London Stadium. Schade plays the ball into the area. Coyote was there. The header was on target, but it was tame, and it's gathered by Areola, and West Ham still lead by 2-1. Back to the tennis, Russell Fuller.
It's a curse, isn't it? The tennis is, we said.
We'll be right with Russell in a moment, as Brentford still in possession here at the London Stadium. 20 minutes plus added time to play. West Ham 20 minutes away from their first FA Cup quarter-final, the three-time winners for a decade. But Brentford really are building the pressure in this second half as they look to level in this game once more. Out to the left-hand side, ball goes out for a goal kick to West Ham. Let us go back to Russell Fuller at the tennis,
where Jack Draper has made a flying start to this match with Francisco Cerundolo trying to join Cameron Norrie in the fourth round. He took the first set 6-1, playing well. Cerundolo's forehand misfiring, but the Argentine seems to have rediscovered his mojo, and he's broken early and leads the second 2-love.
Thank you very much, Russell. Here at the London Stadium, West Ham have the goal kick. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, I think this has been Brentford's best spell of possession in the second half. Starting to ask a few questions of West Ham. Just let off the hook slightly there. Damsgaard giving away a goal kick, and West Ham have really taken the sting out of the situation, took their time over the goal kick. But yeah, definitely over the last 5 minutes, Brentford starting to build a head of steam.
And they're in possession over on the far side with Keane Lewis Potter. In field now to Queeving Kelleher. Lays it off to Christopher Ayer. As Keith Andrews waits on the edge of his technical area, watching on. They've never been past the quarter-finals in the FA Cup, Brentford. They haven't reached the last 8 since 1989. Now, to keep those hopes alive, they need a goal. They do not need that touch from Dango Ouattara. They built nicely to the byline, and then Ouattara with a shocking first touch straight behind for a West Ham goal kick. Are we seeing a little bit of tiredness for Brentford, Glenn? I agree with you that they have started to put on the pressure in the last 5 minutes or so, but we say, look, Keith Andrews taking this really seriously, only made 3 changes. He's really limited in terms of the senior players that he can use, whereas West Ham, yes, they've made more changes with an eye on the Premier League, but they've also freshened things up with their senior players. Is there a little bit of tiredness for these Brentford players out here?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I mean, I can see where you come from with a couple of sloppy little moments in the last couple of minutes, but I just think Ouattara there was feinting to kind of make Kidd on like he was going to control the ball and just try and get half a yard to be able to cross it. But I will say they worked it wonderfully, didn't they, into the West Ham 18-yard box. But what West Ham have done really well, I feel, all evening, is when there has been a second ball in and around their own 18-yard box, is bounce out of that pressure really, really well. What Brentford like to do, they like to pin you in, they like to keep you in, they like to recycle the ball and build that pressure on you until eventually you crack. West Ham have bounced out extremely well.
And that's a perfect example there of what Glenn's talked about. Mohamedou Kante just inside the Brentford half has won a free kick under pressure from Christopher Oyer. He's been really impressive, Mohamedou Kante. This is only his second start for the club. He's made his West Ham debut this season, 6 substitute appearances in the Premier League, 2 starts in the FA Cup. He's just 20 years of age. He's done well.
Yeah, I've liked him. I've liked his performance this evening. He's fit right into that midfield. Obviously, with Souček, who's very experienced, who I'm sure will be coaching him through the game. But his athletic ability, I think his composure on the ball, he stood out for me.
Here come West Ham, ball into the penalty area, trapped and then cleared very calmly on the corner of his own 6-yard box by Nathan Collins. Brentford trying to put the pressure on with Damsgaard, but it's just about dealt with by Mavropanos and Walker-Peters between them. And all the way back to Alphonse Areola. 14 minutes plus added time to play, and it is West Ham who still lead by 2-1.
Yeah, West Ham just a little bit of possession here, trying to get through Brentford. Areola pinging it out to Kyle Walker-Peters. Souček just can't quite find Bowen, and this pressure starts again for Brentford, being expansive, starting to open West Ham up. And I wonder, are West Ham tiring?
Well, they're going to make another change. So on Guti Magassa, he's going to come on. So the answer perhaps is yes, a little bit, just fresh legs needed. But they are playing some really lovely stuff at times, West Ham. I mean, the difference in confidence from now to 10-11 games ago is quite remarkable in terms of this West Ham side, as they pick it up over on that right-hand side. And Jarrod Bowen, 2 goals this evening. We'll work it back eventually to Kyle Walker-Peters. It's patient from West Ham. They lead by 2-1. You're on 5 Live on BBC Sounds. That's a lovely ball to find Mateus Fernandes, 25 yards out. There's just shoot. Plays it out to the left-hand side instead. And Ezra Mayers, who will chop it back to Fernandes. 30 yards now, central position, and back into the centre circle with Disasi.
And just on your point there, Vicky, it just shows what a little bit of patience in your manager can do, can't it? Because it wasn't pretty when Nuno took over. They couldn't quite find that right balance, could they? That they hadn't done all season, and it looked like that trend was going to continue. But they've been patient. They trusted that they'd appointed the right person, and all of a sudden they are on the cusp of getting out of the trouble they were in. They're on the cusp of getting into a quarter-final of an FA Cup. And I think when you look at it from a zoomed-out perspective, it's been a good appointment at the football club.
Well, we've just been talking about him, and this young man is getting a standing ovation from the London Stadium as he comes off. Mohamedou Kante. He will be replaced by Guti Magassa. Just in terms of West Ham's improvement as well, one thing that stood out to me ahead of this game, that Mads Hermansen, who's recently displaced Alphonse Areola as number 1 again, but is given a rest for this one, said we've become more closer, more together as a group. Apparently in Danish the phrase would be, we've moved closer in the bus, when you apply that to a footballing context. And we are seeing this greater connection between the team and also with the fans as well, which is so important, and Nuno has spoken a lot about that.
Yeah, without doubt, and obviously there's always an air of frustration when you're losing football games. I don't think it was necessarily the losing. I think it was the manner that they were losing in when you looked at it, and shipping plenty of leads and maybe having a little bit of a soft centre. Nuno doesn't stand for that. We've seen it with his Nottingham Forest side. First and foremost, he builds up a really strong foundation, and we've mentioned it already tonight. I think Disasi coming into the team, he's grown into a real leader, and he seems like he's allowed to be the player he wants to be here at West Ham.
Yeah, rejuvenating his own career. Hadn't played for Chelsea in over a year. Spent the end of last season on loan at Aston Villa, but very much out of favour, very much doing the business for West Ham here. Axel Disasi. Brentford are going to make another change. Ramel Donovan, 19 years of age, is going to come on from their depleted bench. Say 19, he is a senior player, and I say that because they've got a load of teenagers on the bench as well. They are stretched at the moment, Brentford, in terms of numbers, and they're up against it in this game. West Ham still lead by 2-1, 12.5 minutes plus added time to play. An FA Cup quarter-final at home to Leeds United awaits the winners. But still, Brentford are in this as they have the ball with Coyote just inside their own half.
There is starting to feel like a little bit of a nervousness around the stadium from both teams as well, just a little bit more caution to the play.
Well, that's a lovely ball to find Jarrod Bowen out on the right-hand side, driving towards the penalty area. It's Jarrod Bowen for West Ham, beaten away by Kelleher at the near post. Well, the angle was tight, but he's on a hat-trick, Jared Bowen, and you can understand why he went for goal. He wins the corner.
Yeah, without doubt. Every time, like I say, he gets on the ball, you can hear the seats in the stadium because everyone's standing up. They're all expecting something special to happen. This time, driving in, chops onto that right foot, strike on target. Second good save by Callera tonight.
So, corner to West Ham. Brentford are going to wait for that to be taken before bringing on Ronald Donovan. And Bowen, he's over, raises both arms in the air and prepares to take this corner. Can West Ham give themselves a bit of breathing space against Brentford? Swung in deep by Bowen, and Kelleher claws it away under real pressure from Tati Castellanos. Again, that's excellent goalkeeping from Brentford's number one as West Ham pick it up in the centre circle.
Yeah, if Brentford do manage to find a way back into this game, if they do manage to find a goal in the next 12-15 minutes, then they'll be turning around and be thanking that man because he's been exceptional this evening, Callera.
Flicked on by Dungo Ouattara. Sharda's tumbled through the centre, but Brentford are still coming. It's Ouattara, pulls the ball across, and Coyote feels he was fouled there, and it is a penalty. Coyote came flying in at the far post and went flying and celebrates and roars now because he's won a penalty for Brentford. And what a chance for them to get back into this game from the penalty spot. Penalty Brentford. Can they level it up against West Ham here at the London Stadium?
Yeah, crashing that back post, asking that question of the West Ham left back. It's lifted over wonderfully, isn't it, by Ouattara. You can see there's bodies in the box, just need to try and pick someone. It actually isn't the left back, it's Somerville who gets back in and just eases Coyote under it. Too much so for the referee, and he points to the spot. I think they are checking it. It's a couple of times that Brentford on this back post have got just in behind the left back and the left winger on the blind side, they say. This time they've been punished for it. Oh, well, they've been given a penalty. They haven't punished them just yet.
Well, they felt they should have had a penalty in the first half, Brentford. They were furious about it. They do have a penalty in the second half, and it's their main man, Igor Thiago, who's already scored this evening. That one he didn't know too much about as it glanced off his chest. This one he'll certainly know about. He picks up the ball between both hands, kisses it and places it back on the spot. He's moved on to 20 goals for the season already here. Can he make it 21? More importantly, can he make it West Ham 2, Brentford 2? Up against Alphonse Areola, it's Igor Thiago, and he can make it 2-2. A thumping penalty from Brentford's main man. A brace for him this evening. 21 goals for the season, and we're all square in the FA Cup. West Ham 2, Brentford 2.
Yeah, and they deserve it, Brentford, I think, for their all-round play this evening. They didn't deserve to be trailed in the game. Now this game is very much in the balance, and do you know what, as he steps up to that, he does the stop, doesn't he, to see if the goalkeeper goes. He doesn't go anywhere. He holds his position, he holds his nerve, Areola, and he does just enough to steer it to Areola's right-hand side. Not very far to his right-hand side, only a yard or two, but the power beats the West Ham goalkeeper, can't quite react. All of a sudden, it's 2-2, and we're in for a cracking last 10 minutes.
Big celebrations from Keith Andrews, the Brentford boss, on the touchline as West Ham get us underway. Well, it's been a cracking cup tie, and we could be heading for extra time as Brentford win a free kick midway through their own half. It's Nathan Collins who's gone down, and it will be a set piece to Brentford. Well, we've had it all in this tie. Glenn Murray, we've had VAR drama, we've had a penalty apiece.
Not quite. We haven't had a red card yet. Let's throw a red card in for good measure, couldn't we? A little bit more excitement.
Is that your prediction?
But it really has delivered, hasn't it? The FA Cup this weekend. There's been upsets. There's been very good games of football. I've really enjoyed a couple of them. Wrexham, Chelsea, I thought was a wonderful game. Obviously, Port Vale getting through, and then this is the last one, the treat.
And the winners will host Leeds United in the quarter-finals. It looked like it was going to be West Ham. It might not be now. West Ham 2, Brentford 2. As Walker-Peters under pressure, steers it back to Mavropanos, but Brentford are coming again. It's Brentford now with their tails up as Damsgaard plays it out to the left-hand side, and Kevin Schade in field to Damsgaard once more, trying to trick his way towards the penalty area. He's done really well, lays it off. Lewis Potter thought about the delivery. Walker-Peters was right there though, so feeds Damsgaard once again. Oh, that's beautifully worked. Lewis Potter on the ankle, flashes the shot right across goal and out for a West Ham goal kick.
It's so well worked, isn't it, by Damsgaard and Kane Lewis Potter. A couple of interchanges, a couple of underlapping runs, and eventually Kane Lewis Potter is away and he's running along that 6-yard line, approaching the 6-yard box, 6 on his left foot, and he opts for a cross-come shot, should I say. I think he should shoot. I think he should ask a question of the goalkeeper from here. I don't know whether it is actually a cross, a little bit maybe too much on it for a cross. Fired across with real venom. No one can read it in that close quarters. And I see his manager rubbing his hands through his hair because he knows that was another opportunity. But momentum very much with the West London side.
So poor Romel Donovan is still waiting to come on for Brentford.
He needs another warm-up.
He does. And Keith Andrews, now they've got that equaliser, he's just going to see how the players out here will do. Tidy up as well. Somerville did get a yellow card for conceding that penalty as well. So he is into the book. And Kevin Schade under pressure here, very well dispossessed by Jared Bowen, deep in his own territory, and Bowen was fouled there, but referee Andy Madley's going to play advantage, and that's a brilliant ball by Bowen. Can Somerville make amends for conceding that penalty? Driving towards the penalty area, inside the box now. Brentford have 3 light blue shirts around him trying to stop him, and they do manage to force him out of the area, but Somerville, lovely turn, gets past Coyote, into the box, down to the byline, pulls the ball across, and it's hacked away as Bowen ran in. Really good defending back there by Kevin Schade, and Brentford will help it up to Thiago, who's just inside his own half. Lovely work by Crescencio Somerville, 2-2.
Well, that was criminal by Coyote because they done so well, Brentford, to usher Somerville out to this touchline, and just a little dip of the shoulder, and all of a sudden he's back in the 18-yard box asking a question of your defence when 3 of you have shepherded him out of that situation to begin with. Hooked away. This game is end to end.
5 minutes plus added time to play. Are we going to get late drama in normal time? Drama's going to come at some point.
Of course we are.
Oh, Igor Thiago's done really well there. Left-hand side of the penalty area. He was too strong for the challenge and can't quite pick out Ouattara. Oh, what an opportunity squandered by Brentford as West Ham try and counter. And they will win a free kick as Tati Castellanos goes down just outside the centre circle. He goes for goal. Kelleher was alert. Andy Madley says you can't take the free kick that quickly anyway because Brentford are going to make a change, and Damsgaard is off and Romel Donovan finally gets on.
Oh, I'm surprised. He's brought Damsgaard off because I think he's been getting better and better as the evening's gone on. He's orchestrated some wonderful play in and around the West Ham box for Brentford. But someone else's turn. Donovan, fresh legs. Can he be the difference?
Yep, 19 years of age, England youth international. He's made a handful of appearances this season. Someone is going to be the hero. Someone might be the villain. West Ham 2, Brentford 2, West Ham in possession just inside their own half. Glenn Murray.
Or are we getting into water bottle territory? You mentioned the water bottle earlier on in penalties, and I don't really think that goalkeepers need it for one-off penalty takers because you usually know who's going to take that penalty. You're quite well versed on 1 or 2 people. You're not so well versed on 5, 6, 7, 8 maybe. That's when the water bottle comes into play.
We may yet need spot kicks. But still, 4 minutes of normal time and then extra time potentially to come as well. But it's Brentford in the ascendancy at the moment, having found that late equaliser from the penalty spot from Igor Thiago. As they come down the left-hand side, Ouattara's delivery. And West Ham will just about get it away on the edge of their own 6-yard box. It's collected by Thiago, picked up by Donovan. Edge of the penalty area, tried to squeeze it through 2 claret shirts and Mateus Fernandes and Ezra Mayers. Can't do so, and Jared Bowen will reach it and poke it out to this left-hand side, and Mayers does really well there. He was under real pressure from Jensen and manages to play it off him and win West Ham a throw.
And all of a sudden West Ham aren't quite bouncing out, are they, like they once were against Brentford? They haven't got those forward runners. Are they starting to tire the East London bunch against the West London bunch?
Forward by Mayers towards the halfway line. It's cleared away by Jordan Henderson for Brentford, and Magassa will steer it back for West Ham to Mavropanos and to the right-hand side, and Walker-Peters. Now, Magassa once more. All forwards, but it was a little bit short for Souček, and I think, Glenn Murray, you're right, there is a little bit of tiredness creeping into those West Ham legs, and it's amazing what an equaliser pegging you back can do in that regard.
Oh, it really is. I've been in that situation many times on both situations, and when you concede an equaliser after leading the game for so long and you're narrowly getting there, you're edging closer and closer, you're having a little glimpse at the big clocks, the big screens in the stadium, and you've got a little bit more energy in your legs, but when that equaliser goes in, all of a sudden everything is a little bit heavier. Takes a little bit longer.
Well, Brentford have lost it though, and Bowen scooped it forward. Vital challenge by Christopher Raya on Tati Castellanos, who was bursting into the penalty area. But Raya got there first, and eventually Brentford will clear the ball away. Sharda's gone down. That's going to be a free kick to Brentford, and it might be more punishment here for West Ham, and it is a yellow card brandished towards Tomasz Souček, and he's into the book.
Well, it was flicked up and hoisted upfield from, it was Keane Lewis Potter in the left back position, wasn't it? He kind of scooped it up and whacked it upfield, so to speak, and Kevin Sharda pulled it out so well, didn't he? Out of the sky, pulled it round the side of Tomasz Souček. Tomasz Souček does nothing more than wrap his arm around him, kind of rugby tackle him, pull him to the ground, and earned himself a yellow card.
Nathan Collins tried a bit of quick thinking from the resultant free kick, but just played it straight out of play. So West Ham throw, 2-2, and we're into the final minute of normal time in this FA Cup fifth round tie. The final game of this round, a home tie against Leeds United awaits the winners. Unless we also have late drama in normal time. We're heading to extra time here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as the ball is all the way back with Brentford's Caoimhín Kelleher out to the left-hand side over the head of Dango Ouattara. And the ball goes out of play for a West Ham throw. Referee Andy Madley just instructing Kyle Walker-Peters not to steal any more yards. Walker-Peters will take this throw, gets it back from Souček as we enter 4 minutes of added time. 4 minutes for either side to find a winner and head through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, or we're going to extra time as Ramel Donovan has it for Brentford on the halfway line. Scoop forward, looking for the run of Michael Coyote. He's getting forward once again, as he has done so many times this evening. Forward now to Donovan once more, challenged by Mateus Fernandes. Ball goes out of play, Brentford throw, and Coyote's going to launch it in long again. Do you want to see him do something a little bit different from this? They haven't quite had the joy that they would have wanted from these long throws from Coyote, or do you think they're causing West Ham enough problems to just keep doing the same thing?
Well, they've done it all Premier League season. Why stop now? I think when you put enough pressure on certain things, eventually they will crack. Let's see if West Ham crack.
So Coyote does launch it in. It's cleared away by West Ham, only as far as Somerville. Gave away that late penalty scored by Thiago as Fernandes tries to find Bowen but can't do so. Kelleher midway through his own half launches it forward for Brentford. Still got the height up higher, one of them from the back. It's cleared away by West Ham, forward again by Brentford. Souček on the climb wins the header. Brentford send it forward again. And out to the left-hand side, the ball is looking for Ouattara, but that's got too much on it. Tried to keep it in. It has gone out for a throw. Looked from our angle like he might not have done, but it is a West Ham throw deep in their own territory.
Done well to rescue that Ouattara, not give it up. 91st, 92nd minute, easy to think, oh, do you know what? Let's just take it extra time. Doesn't.
So, West Ham throw deep in their own territory. 2 minutes of added time to play. It's 2-2 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds at the London Stadium. The throw is taken short by West Ham, and the nerves are creeping in now. They have won a throw again over on the far side, but
oh, strange by Fernandes, wasn't he? He threw him the ball. I think he tried to chest him it back, but as it approached him, it was getting lower and lower, so he tried to chest it back. It hit the floor, hit him on the head, and went back to him.
They have got another throw out of it. West Ham, that final touch came off a Brentford man as it's helped forward for Brentford, chested down by Mateus Fernandes, midway inside his own half, lays it off to Axel Disasi, who in turn finds Mavropanos. Magassa, a little bit sloppy there, but he does eventually manage to poke the ball forward at the second attempt, and it's laid off by Somerville, and Castellanos is racing through the centre, but a loose touch again from Songuta Magassa, and he's lost it, and Brentford can come forward now. Played over the halfway line. Magassa does redeem himself and blocks that ball forward from Jordan Henderson. Spins out of play for a Brentford throw. Approaching the final minute of added time. West Ham 2, Brentford 2 in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it looks like we're all set for extra time here at the London Stadium as Jordan Henderson stays down, just filmed his Achilles, I think, after a little coming together just in front of the dugouts.
Yeah, he's had a couple of knocks in this game, Jordan Henderson. Throw on the halfway line, still a long one from Michael Coyote. Good one to find Igor Thiago. He's got a couple of goals, as has Jarrod Bowen. That's why we're 2-2. On penalty apiece. One goal from open play apiece as Ouattara whips the ball into the area. It's cleared away on the stretch by Thomas Soucek. It's another Brentford throw, and this one is definitely within Michael Coyote getting into the 6-yard box range.
Do you change it now?
Maybe not with 30 seconds to go. So, possible last chance of normal time. 20 seconds to play. Keith Andrews watching on as Michael Coyote launches it long for Brentford. Oh, it's bounced almost all the way through and gathered by Areola at the near post. He's trying to get West Ham away on the counter. Long throw over arm. It's a good one as well, but well read by Brentford. Castellanos, was he brought down there? No, he's committed the foul on the halfway line, but that might be that. We've played the 4 minimum added minutes, and that is that for normal time. We're heading to extra time here at the London Stadium. West Ham 2, Brentford 2.
Extra time, as Vicky says, on the way here from the London Stadium. But first up on 5 Live, let's get a check-in on the latest BBC News with Jill Mackenzie.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
President Trump says he believes the war with Iran is, in his words, very complete, pretty much. Speaking to CBS News, Mr. Trump said Iran no longer has a navy, air force or communications, and its missiles were down to a scatter. Earlier, the White House said the US government is looking for ways to stabilise the international price of oil, which has risen to its highest level since 2022. Here, the Chancellor Rachel Reeves has warned that the higher cost of fuel could increase inflation. A Syrian man living in Britain has been charged with crimes against humanity. He's accused of murder and torture as part of his alleged role in stopping anti-government protests in Syria 15 years ago. And Network Rail is warning there'll be days of disruption after a huge fire destroyed a building next to Glasgow Central Station. The station itself has avoided significant damage, but it's expected to stay closed tomorrow for safety inspections.
Oh, hello, treacherous beings.
On BBC iPlayer.
I suspect you.
Where's your evidence?
Same game.
They are playing us like a fiddle.
More crack.
Show me the money.
I'm suspicious of everybody.
Who will live? Who will die? The Traitors Ireland. Watch all episodes on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports.
The FA Cup.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, this is 5 Live Sport live from the London Stadium this evening. We've got a London derby with extra time on the way. It's West Ham United 2, Brentford 2. Before we head back to our commentary team, let's check in at Indian Wells. Cameron Norrie has already won this evening. Jack Draper is currently in action against Francisco Cerundolo. Here's our correspondent, Russell Fuller.
Jack Draper took the first set by 6 games to 1 and has served very well in patches in this second set, apart from in the first game and the most recent game. He's been broken twice, and as a result, he's having to break the Francisco Cerundolo serve again to stay in this second set. Draper trails 5-4, but 2 double faults from Cerundolo have given him real heart, and he's now got 2 break-back points to level the second set at 5 games all as he continues the defence of his Indian Wells title.
Commentary continues over on Sports Extra. Right here at the London Stadium, though, it looked like West Ham were going to see it through and head into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, but a penalty awarded to Brentford was converted by Igor Thiago with 9 minutes to go, and so we head to extra time. Let me just check in with Glenn Murray, who's summarised this game alongside Vicky Sparks this evening. And Glenn, just looking at the penalty, we're seeing so many of these with players being pushed in the back, nudged in the back. I don't know how I felt about this one. What did you make of it?
Well, I can tell from the way you've just asked me that question how you feel about it, to be honest, Aaron.
It's a contact sport, Glenn.
It is a contact sport, Aaron. I think the problem is that once you've left the ground, you're easily removed from the situation. You can be easily moved under an in-swinging cross, so to speak. And I think players know this and they try their luck. I think Somerville knows that he probably can't handle Coyote physically, aerially, so he tries to ease him under it. He probably isn't aware that he's got into that situation either. He's the wrong side of the Brentford attacker in this sense, even though he's a defender, and he does ease him under the ball, a ball that it looks like he's going to meet and head into the goal. So effectively the right decision was fallen upon.
Perfect timing from you, Glenn, as we get a third rendition of I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, or is it fourth? Vicky Sparks can tell us of a West Ham United change as we head into extra time.
Wan-Bissaka is preparing to come on for West Ham. In the FA Cup, you get another substitution opportunity in extra time, so it takes you up to 6. He is replacing Kyle Walker-Peters, and again, Glenn Murray, Nuno Espirito Santo using that strong bench. They very much want to go through in this competition. Yes, their priority is to stay in the Premier League, but despite making the 7 changes, it was a strong side they put out, and every substitution arguably has made the side stronger.
Yeah, definitely, and I did reference that at the start. He had more options from his bench, but I did have a little chuckle to myself there, because that extra time, that final whistle, was met around the London Stadium with a silent reluctance on a Monday evening.
Extra time, here we go. Brentford's in possession, playing in their changed light blue strip. I've hurriedly scribbled down my penalty grid just in case, but we've got 30 minutes of extra time before we get to spot kicks. West Ham 2, Brentford 2, and West Ham defending in the claret and blue shirts as the header away inside their own penalty area by Disasi falls to Jensen out to the left-hand side, and Lewis Potter headed away once more by Wan-Bissaka, who's just come on for them, and steered back by Brentford, all in their light blue change kit to Queevy and Kelleher. West Ham in the claret shirts, the white shorts and the white socks, as Jensen finds Kelleher once again. Nathan Collins in possession for Brentford, now plays it forward looking for the run of Dango Ouattara. It's over the head of Mavropanos and into the gloves of Alphonse Areola, who is in goal for West Ham. The back four now of Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Disasi and Mayers. Ahead of them Souček, Fernandez and Magassa, with Bowen, who's got a brace this evening, Somerville supporting Castellanos up top as Kelleher receives the ball for Brentford. He is in goal for them. Back four of Coyote, Ayer, Collins and Lewis Potter. Ahead of them Henderson and Jensen, with Ouattara, Donovan and Schade supporting Igor Thiago. 2-goal Igor Thiago, on to 21 in all competitions for the season. Up top as Mavropanos is strongly challenged by Dango Ouattara, and eventually the whistle does go. Referee Andy Madley deeming that is a free kick to West Ham, and they have a set piece a third of the way inside their own half. So will it be West Ham who can seize this opportunity, having led twice on the night here at the London Stadium, to make the quarter-finals for the first time in a decade? Or will it be Brentford, who've never been past the last 8 of the FA Cup, to reach the quarter-finals for the first time since 1989? Jarrod Bowen for West Ham plays it in field to Magassa, who swipes the play out to Crescencio Somerville. Brought on to make an impact, but made the wrong one from a West Ham perspective. The in-form man giving away that late penalty, converted by Igor Thiago, as West Ham steer the ball all the way back to Axel Disasi. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, started this first half of extra time really well, West Ham, haven't they? A little bit of a spring in their step, just manoeuvring the ball around Brentford. Brentford sitting off them to a certain extent. Exerted themselves at the end of that 90 minutes, getting back into the game. As I see a backward pass by West Ham, and the Brentford manager Keith Andrews waving his team forward, encouraging them to step out, wanting a little bit more enthusiasm, energy from his men at the start of this extra time period.
Over the halfway line go West Ham. Steered in field to Magassa. He's got movement ahead of him. Finds Crescencio Somerville. Out to the right-hand side he goes. Wan-Bissaka in a bit of space. Does keep the ball in nicely on this near side, the right. Wan-Bissaka taking on Keane Lewis-Potter, who stands up well. No way through for Wan-Bissaka, so we'll pull it back to Jarrod Bowen. Bowen in field now to Crescencio Somerville, just outside the D. Trying to work room for the shot here, Somerville. Now lays it off to Ezra Mayers. It's a wild delivery. Behind for a Brentford's goal kick. Not the best ball from the 19-year-olds.
No, it was a poor cross, wasn't it? Because they'd worked that ball well, West Ham. They've been really patient on the edge of that Brentford 18-yard box. Eventually managed to find some space in that far left-hand side. And Somerville, after trying to just meander across the edge of that 18-yard box and manufacture a shot, can't. He lays it into the left-back's path, who scoops it out of play, disappointingly for the home support.
Long forward from Kelleher, ball goes out of play over on the far side, and it will be a throw to Brentford, and Michael Coyote plays it short this time to try something a little different there, and will be collected by Ramel Donovan, teenager. Steers it back for Brentford, and now they have it on the halfway line with Christopher Ayer, feeds Nathan Collins, advancing inside the West Ham half, out to the left-hand side, and Keane Lewis-Potter as Nuno Espirito Santo watches on, regardless of how this ends. And of course they'll be delighted if they go through, but extra time will not be what he wanted. That Premier League schedule so important to them as Keane Lewis-Potter plays the ball into the area. It's cleared away by Mavropanos. Manchester City at home on Saturday, and trips to Villa, Wolves at home, Crystal Palace away. Those are two huge games for them. Playing an extra 30 minutes, not in the plan. But if they get through, Glenn, they just have to use that as the continued good momentum that they've been building at the moment as they win a free kick a third of the way inside their own half.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, even if they don't get through, it's been a really positive performance by West Ham. Like we said, they've made changes, but they've kept that level of performance up. Unlucky not to go through in 90 minutes. Didn't quite see it out, but I wouldn't say this would be a momentum stopper in any shape, way or form.
No, I think that's a fair point. As Jarrod Bowen is dispossessed on the halfway line, that ball spins out of play. And it will be a West Ham throw, and they take it quickly. And a late challenge on Tati Castellanos by Keane Lewis-Potter, and that's a free kick to West Ham.
Never been a free kick. I think he got the ball. I really do. Castellanos made the most of it.
So referee Andy Madley. No, does say it's a free kick to West Ham, and Brentford are going to make a change again. Don't have many senior players to turn to. It's a like-for-like swap at the back. Christopher Ayer, replaced by Sepp Vandenberg, whose first job is to race towards that Brentford penalty area and prepare to defend this free kick. Mateus Fernandes stands over it. It's about a third of the way inside the Brentford half on this right-hand side. He raises his left hand in the air and fizzes the ball in. It's a really good delivery. The header across goal, though, has too much on it, and Kelleher can gather at the edge of his 6-yard box. West Ham 2, Brentford 2, 7 minutes gone in extra time. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, it's a really nice delivery he does from this right-hand side, Fernandes, because he doesn't wrap his foot round it and make it an outswing. He almost drives it, but it just falls off that straight line towards the goal slightly and really invites his teammates to attack it. Again, Thomas Souček was the closest West Ham man to that one.
There you go, Sepp Vandenberg, Brentford's substitute, plays the lovely ball forward to Igor Thiago. That was fabulous, beaten away. The cross-come shot from Thiago by Alphonse Areola. Then Jarrod Bowen clears the ball away. It bounces off the referee, and it will be called back for a West Ham drop ball just outside their own penalty area. But decent stop that from Alphonse Areola.
It was a decent. What I didn't like about it is that I think it's a relatively good height for the goalkeeper. I think it's a cross-come shot from Thiago. He parries it out into traffic, and he's fortunate there's not somebody arriving on the edge or in and around the penalty spot edge of the 18-yard box area. And then Andrew Madley turned into creator for West Ham and nearly put Fernandes away down this right-hand side, didn't he?
Which is why he stopped play, called it back for a drop ball. And West Ham in possession with Jarrod Bowen. Couple of goals for him this evening, taking him on to 10. Couple of goals for Igor Thiago, taking him on to 21 as Alphonse Areola sends it up to the halfway line. It's flicked on by Aaron Wan-Bissaka for West Ham, brought down by Tati Castellanos. Interception by Matthias Jensen over the head of Kevin Schade, and Axel Disasi is there for West Ham midway through his own half to collect possession and send it out to the left-hand side, and Ezra Mayers picked up now by Crescencio Somerville. Nice layoff to him by Mateus Fernandes, and now Souček back to Mateus Fernandes, rather bounced off him, but he did retain possession. Back to Souček, and now Axel Disasi once more midway through the West Ham half. It's 2-2 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 9 minutes gone in this first period of extra time. A home tie against Leeds awaits the winners in the quarter-finals. Elsewhere in the last 8, Southampton will host Arsenal. Port Vale of League One will travel to Chelsea, and Manchester City play Liverpool. It's Aaron Wan-Bissaka for West Ham driving towards the area. It's Jarrod Bowen on a hat-trick, lays it off to Magassa. Ooh, went for that near post, trying to catch out Kelleher. It had some whip on it, but unfortunately for Sangwuti Magassa, it whipped behind the net rather than into it.
I think he'll be very kind with that. I don't think he went for goal at all. I think it was a really, really bad cross. From his reaction, he span round and threw his arms about a little bit. Frustration with himself. But all of a sudden, as we approach 10 minutes into the first half of extra time, the tempo has really fallen out of the game. It's pretty much silent in the West Ham Stadium as well. Is everyone waiting for penalties?
Sometimes these cup games just do get that feel, don't they, on the pitch as well as off it. But West Ham trying to change that with Somerville. Here's Mateus Fernandes approaching the Brentford penalty area. Now Jarrod Bowen, right-hand side of the box, tried to pick out a teammate in the centre in Magassa, can't do so. Lovely back heel by Igor Thiago, just about finds Jordan Henderson. And here goes Michael Coyote. Has the option on the right-hand side of Ramel Donovan. He's taking on fellow 19-year-old Ezra Mayers of West Ham, and Donovan held up on the edge of the penalty area. Magassa back there to defend as well, as the ball is eventually drifted in, just nudged away by Mavropanos. Didn't really get the distance on it. Oh, then Matara, big swipe. Brentford won another penalty, and Andy Madley says no.
He had a long think about it, Andy Madley. He looked at the situation for a long time, and that is the right call by the referee. He does go to make contact, doesn't he, Wan-Bissaka? Actually swings his leg towards the Brentford player, thinks better of it, and stubs his studs into the turf, stopping any contact. I think Atara thought it was coming and went down duly, but bounces back up. Really good call by the referee.
Yeah, it was similar for Matara, wasn't it? He was halfway down and he thought better of it because he realised that he hadn't actually been caught, and had he completed the fall, he might have been booked for diving. So he quickly managed to retrieve it, kind of did a stumble to his hands and knees inside the penalty area, got back up, and as Glenn Murray says, that is a really good call. I was gonna say it's not very often Wan-Bissaka gets a 1v1 defending opportunity wrong. I think he's an absolute magician in that position. Not many people go past the man. 2-2 between West Ham and Brentford. 11 minutes gone in extra time. Nice little cushioned header on the touchline there by Keith Andrews, the Brentford boss.
Couldn't help himself, could he?
Do you know what? He's had a couple of nice touches in this game. I should have mentioned them before, actually.
He actually looks like he could still play, Keith. He looks very trim. I wonder if he ever joins in training.
This is how you do the set pieces. Here's Keane Lewis-Potter, nice couple of step overs, tricking his way down to the byline for Brentford. Oh, that was a really good delivery across. Areola was stranded as he watched it. Mayers on the edge of the 6-yard box managed to get a touch for West Ham. Brentford have a player down in Thiago on the far side. They want a free kick, they're not going to get it. They've won it back. It's good play by Ramel Donovan, the 19-year-old, as Thiago's up to his feet. And Brentford work it to Coyote. Donovan down now. Coyote whips the ball into the area. Disasi's header away. Sharda's trying to bring it out of the air. Can't do so. Wan-Bissaka, lovely poise and control just to bring that ball away under pressure from the light blue shirts, and feeds Somerville over on the left-hand side. And here goes Crescencio Somerville, skipping past the challengers. Down the left he goes into the penalty area. Somerville still going. Just tried one dribble too many. And Brentford get the footing. Clear away. It bounces off Igor Thiago. Goes out of play for a West Ham throw.
Who looks absolutely shattered, doesn't he? He tried to hold that ball up. I think he got kicked in the corner and went down. I'm actually just looking at a replay. A really good play by Keane Lewis-Potter down this left-hand side. He puts a ball right across that 6-yard box. Thiago caught on his heels. Not very often the West Ham forward has not been crashing that space this season.
Shot driven in by Thomas Souček for West Ham, got a deflection, it's scooped away by Keane Lewis-Potter, falls to Wan-Bissaka. Midway through the Brentford half, right-hand side, brilliant darting run once again. The ball just sticking to his feet, lays it off to Souček. Right-hand side, swings the delivery and it's poor, it's straight into the arms of Kelleher. It is still 2-2, we've got 90 seconds to play in the first half of extra time. Glenn Murray.
Brentford on the attack here. Yeah, game's just kind of meandering at the moment, isn't it? We're getting to that stage where you're scared to make a mistake. You don't want to overcommit at any point.
Lovely touch by Keane Lewis-Potter to bring the ball forward for Brentford. He has options to his left in Ouattara and finds him, who goes for the 1-2, and Lewis-Potter won't quite get there. Really well marshalled at the back. Very good defending by Thomas Souček. West Ham goal kick, 2-2.
Yeah, he's done well, hasn't he? Thomas Souček hasn't played for large periods in this season, frowned upon by some managers, recent managers at the football club, but he is Mr. West Ham, isn't he? You can question some of his attributes, but I tell you what, the key moments, he's always there. He always makes a difference. He always does have a say on a game, I would say, Thomas Souček.
And here is a man who has also been involved in many key moments throughout his career. Callum Wilson is preparing to come on for West Ham as Schade flicks the ball forward, laid off by Thiago, forward now by Nathan Collins. That's a lovely ball to find Ouattara down the left hand side. Poor delivery from Ouattara though, that's tiredness, straight into the side netting.
Yeah, can't quite dig it out, can he? He's looking for that whip, and it's been so good, his delivery all evening. This time gets it wrong, doesn't quite get that curl on it, and he just digs it into the side netting. And yes, you mentioned Callum Wilson getting ready, former teammate of mine, and I know that Callum Wilson thrives on moments like this. He wants to be the hero. He's a born goal scorer. Can he be the difference?
1 minute of added time at the end of this first period of extra time. West Ham 2, Brentford 2 in the FA Cup fifth round, as ball is stabbed forward by Thiago to Kevin Schade into the penalty area, pulls it across. Brentford trying to get the shot away, and it's Ramel Donovan, 19 years of age, blazes over. Oh, how have they not scored there, Brentford? How have they not taken the lead for the first time this evening at the London Stadium?
Well, they manufactured the chance really well. Kevin Schade and Mavropanos backpedaling, he plays it into Ouattara, who lets it go, runs on to Donovan, who has to check back on that left foot, and he tries to go for power, whips it back across, goes over the bar, just seeing his manager on his haunches, the young man looking to the skies, pulling on that bottom lip, thinking that was a big opportunity. And Brentford haven't quite found that right balance since his introduction, because Damsgaard is such an important player for them.
What a chance as the half-time whistle goes in extra time for Ramel Donovan, 19 years of age, to open his Brentford account, but he can't take it, and we are still level at half-time in extra time. West Ham 2, Brentford 2.
Back for the second half of extra time with Glenn and Vicky in a moment or so, but we're heading to Indian Wells. Job done for Cam Norrie, and now for Jack Draper. Russell Fuller.
Yes, a good win that for Jack Draper. He's still not at his fluent best. You wouldn't expect him to be, because that was only his fifth match since the US Open at the end of last August. But he's come through 6-1, 7-5 against Francisco Cerundolo, the 19th seed. And actually that is the first time that Draper has beaten a top 20 player since the beginning of May. And also the first time he's won multiple matches at the same event since Queen's Club in June. So the recovery is on track. He's slowly making progress. He's into the last 16 as defending champion, and his opponent on Wednesday, Aaron, will be Novak Djokovic.
Oh, looking forward to it. Russell, thank you so much. Glenn Murray's enjoying some confectionery as the two teams sit in a huddle right now. Nuno Espirito Santo going through some rigorous details with his West Ham side. Keith Andrews on the other side, on the other technical area, doing exactly the same. There's plenty more claret and white and blue seats popping up left, right and centre across the London Stadium. It is 8 minutes to 10 o'clock across the UK, and I think people are slowly realising they have jobs and whatnot to go to, which means more joining us on BBC Sounds. Let me bring you the FA Cup draw, which is drawn here on the Olympic Park ahead of this one. Southampton will play Arsenal, Chelsea will play Port Vale, Manchester City will take on Liverpool, and the winner of West Ham United or Brentford will play Leeds United in the quarter-final of this season's FA Cup. Glenn, how the sweets?
mouthful of sweets, did you say there, Aaron? Yes, I have.
Are they good? You've said nothing to the upper deck behind you, so we thank you for that. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to hand straight back to yourself and Vicky Sparks for commentary of this second half of extra time. And as you say, Vicky, that substitution, Callum Wilson heading on for West Ham.
Yes, he's about to come on. We'll see who for in just a second, but leave him alone, our Glenn Murray, Aaron Paul. He's just boosting his blood sugar. It's professional. He needs a bit of extra energy for this second period of extra time and perhaps penalties. And he's still not finished chewing on the jelly snake.
I'm ready to go, don't worry. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so
I can't believe people are leaving when there's the. I mean, have we not hung around all night for penalties? Is that not the whole reason we're here in the FA Cup?
Maybe they've just gone for a drink or popped to the toilet and they'll be right back. Callum Wilson is on. Mateus Fernandes is off. Brentford's making a change as well. Kevin Schade is making way. And Kay Fioro, another 19-year-old, arrived in January from Club Brugge. He's a Belgium under-21 international. And this is his second appearance for Brentford since arriving. Is on. So, 15 minutes of extra time to play. Are we going to get a winner, or are we heading to penalties? It's West Ham coming forwards. Callum Wilson won't win that ball. It's flicked away from him by Brentford and goes out of play for a West Ham throw, which Somerville will leave for the teenager, Ezra Mayers, to launch the ball to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's almost collected by Wilson, but Brentford get the foot in, bounces out of play for another West Ham throw. Now Mayers preparing to take it once more. West Ham 2, Brentford 2. Here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as the ball is flicked forward by Jared Bowen, collected by Tati Castellanos. That's a lovely ball. Wilson dancing through, deflection, and it goes behind. Kelleher got a hand on it as well. Another vital save from Brentford's number 1. But Glenn Murray, that's exactly what you were saying about the impact that Callum Wilson could have.
Yeah, he just comes to life, doesn't he? Takes it as a left foot inside, gets that shot off with his right foot, takes a nick off the stretching defender, which makes it actually more difficult for his goalkeeper, makes it flick up off the defender, doesn't take actually any pace off it. Keller equal to it with a big right paw.
Somerville's corner in, it's headed away by Brentford. Almost falls to Mayers on the edge of the penalty area, but Brentford again will make second contact and clear it over the halfway line. There's nobody there in a light blue shirt, so Alphonse Areola will spray the pass out to this left-hand side. Coyote meets it with a header. Forward now by Axel Disasi. Coyote's there again. Soucek's there in turn for West Ham. Chested down by Somerville, pressured by Coyote. In field he goes, Somerville to Ezra Mayers, and then Thomas Soucek back to Disasi, and Mayers once more chips the ball forward. It's over the head of Castellanos, cleared away by Sepp Vandenberg and brought down and played forward to Ramel Donovan, who had that big chance at the end of the first half of extra time to put Brentford ahead, and he's won a free kick midway through the West Ham half on the right hand side. West Ham 2, Brentford 2. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, Somerville on the recovery can't quite catch Donovan, can he? Just moved out to this right hand side. Donovan picked up position further out. Maybe he might be a little bit more comfortable there. The young Englishman didn't quite get the ball down in that number 10 role when he filled in for Damsgaard, but now that has been taken up by Furo.
So free kick to Brentford. They have options lined up in the pale blue shirts on the edge of the penalty area. Coyote had made a run, then comes back, and Brentford take the free kick short. They work it out to the right hand side, and Ramel Donovan goes one way and then the other, one way and then the other again, easing his way through. It's cleared away by West Ham, and they will break down the left hand side, and here goes Crescencio Somerville, their in-form man who's given away a late penalty in normal time. That means we're in extra time as Kelleher clears away that ball forward before Bowen can reach it. Nice control by Mavropanos. He was challenged by Fioro, and that will be a free kick to West Ham midway inside their own half. A little over exuberance there from Kay Fioro, the 19-year-old, and what is his second appearance for Brentford after arriving in the January transfer window.
Yeah, just trying to pick up the pace of the game, isn't he? And he just cleared it, Mavropanos up the line, and committed to the challenge for it, and he actually catch him with his shoulder in Mavropanos' chest and bowls the big West Ham centre-back over.
And that ball switch of play too much on it for Crescencio Somerville. It goes out of play for a throw to Brentford. Glenn Murray.
Well, with a foot firmly in the strikers' union, we can't make it too easy for centre-halves, can we?
Little tug on the shirt of Fiore, who tried a little back heel, looking to reach Thiago, who does look tireder and tireder out there, but of course they will want to keep him on for penalties. He's already scored once from the spot in this game. That was half of his brace, as has Jared Bowen. And Brentford already have come through a penalty shootout in cup competitions this season, getting the better of Aston Villa. Unless either side can find a winner in the next 10 minutes, that is where we are heading once again. Spot kicks as Magassa has it for West Ham, out to the left-hand side, and here's Romeus. Now Somerville. 2-2 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Really wicked delivery by Somerville. It's cleared away by Brentford. Souček charges it down. Hacked away by Coyote. Forward by Axel Disasi over the head of Ramel Donovan. And Mayers, who's still up there, will retrieve possession for West Ham. Little swipe from Coyote. Eventually the ball goes out off Souček, and it's a throw to Brentford right-hand side midway through their own half. 2-2.
Yeah, good ball into the Brentford box there. Van den Berg makes it really well. The Brentford substitute.
West Ham have worked it really nicely. It's Callum Wilson, unselfish to Castellanos. Oh, they're appealing for a penalty there. Big shout for handball in the Brentford penalty area. Andy Madley unmoved. We do have VAR, they will check, but Dango Ouattara's getting a move on for Brentford. They're already down the other end. Plays the ball off Mavropanos, who just hesitated there, and because of that can't prevent the corner. And now VAR will have a look, but Andy Madley already saying no penalty at the other end and pointing for the corner to Brentford.
No, Callum Wilson's really unselfish, and what it is that I think it's Castellanos, isn't it? He has a shot. Well, I don't even think it's a shot. He gets a little bit of a touch towards goal. I don't think it's going on target. It flicks up, hits the recovering Brentford defender's arm, should I say. Close proximity, body still within the shape of his body, arm, should I say, within the shape of his body, and I think it was a strong, defiant call by Andrew Madley. Once again, who has refereed the game well this evening.
Yeah, it was right by his side, his arm, Keane Lewis Potter, so no penalty, correct decision, but concern here for West Ham, and this is a big concern. Crescencio Somerville is down, and he looks in real pain here. The West Ham medical staff are on. Brentford are going to have a corner, and we've not seen a replay yet of this incident in terms of why Somerville is down, but of course, you know, he has been in sparkling form for them of late, Glenn Murray. 7 goals this season, they've all come in his last 10 games, and this, if he's forced to go off here, and if there are further implications beyond this game in terms of an injury absence, could be a huge blow for West Ham, not just for tonight, but for their bid to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, there's an air of concern around the London Stadium as it just zooms in on Nuno Espirito Santos, because he knows as well how important this man and his form will be in West Ham's plight to stay in the Premier League. He's up on his feet though, limping around a little bit. I'm not sure what it is, not sure if it's an impact injury. Hopefully for West Ham it's not a muscle injury, because they're the ones that can set you back for 3, 4, 5 weeks once you get a scan and see if it has got a tear. But he's, I think without seeing a replay, it looks like an impact injury as he hobbles off the field.
Well, this is where West Ham might have to make a difficult call, because they have used their full quota of substitutes. They've made 6. That's all you get. You get an extra one in extra time, but they've used them all. So Somerville either has to hobble around or try and get back to some sort of ability to run. He's off the pitch for now because he's had treatment, or they're going to have to see out the game and potentially the penalties as well.
I think it's a calf issue. I can see him getting some calf rubbed on his, some DP rubbed on his calf.
So, corner to Brentford, swung in by Jensen. Oh, flicked right across his own goal by Tati Castellanos, and out for another Brentford corner. Whoa, those are heart-in-your-mouth moments for strikers like that, Glenn Murray.
As he's helped that on, you're not exactly sure where that's going to end, but I can tell you now, with the benefit of hindsight, it was good defending. Just watching Nuno Espirito Santos walk down to Somerville, halfway down the touchline. It's a big call for him. And I'm sure if there's any doubt at all, he will not be entering the field of play, but he has, so he must be quite comfortable. I wonder if it was cramped.
Potentially, although he didn't go down like it was cramped, did he necessarily, but could be. Has to now defend another Brentford corner. It's swung in high, it's flicked towards goal, but the header not on target. And it will be a West Ham goal kick. You say they wouldn't send him on if there was any chance. Is there possibly just in the back of their minds that they'd have to see this out with 10? Or do at that point you go, you know what, it's Somerville, it's the Premier League we've got to think about. If we need to see it out with 10, we'll see it out with 10.
Well, it looks really, really uncomfortable. I'm just watching the West Ham number 7 limp around the field. He's got one sock up to his knee, he's got one sock down, halfway down his calf where he's had the DP or whatever rubbed into it to try and free it up. I think this is a muscle injury. With their situation in the Premier League, you finish this game with 10 men, you say, you know what, let's batten down the hatches, let's sit in, let's take everything they've got to throw at us, let's aim for penalties.
Here is Wan-Bissaka, plays the ball into the area, it's cleared away by Coyote. Somerville is getting involved in the attacks where he can, but it's Brentford on the attack now with Romel Donovan, well dispossessed, ball goes out of play for a Brentford throw, and all eyes in the London Stadium are on Crescencio Somerville, who is not moving freely. I think that's the biggest thing to say. He's moving slightly better than he was when he hobbled off, but this is not a Crescencio Somerville who's gone, actually, yep, that's done the trick, I'm absolutely fine.
No, this looks like a Somerville maybe running at 15-20% his capacity. Looks really uncomfortable, protecting that left calf, I think it is. See him there trying to get into his stride, but heavy limp on the West Ham man as Brentford attack down the left-hand side.
And here they come with Keane Lewis-Potter, feeds Dango Ouattara, taking on Wan-Bissaka. Ouattara's ball into the area, straight into the arms of Areola, who just about clung onto that, and we've got just over 4 minutes of time to play in extra time, and it is still West Ham 2, Brentford 2, and here is Crescencio Somerville just inside the West Ham half, plays it out to the left-hand side of Magassa, who will now feed Tati Castellanos, taking on Coyote, stands up well, and again, the tempo, as Glenn mentioned earlier, it has dropped in extra time. It so often does, doesn't it? Players give it absolutely everything for 90, but then even with 30 minutes still to play, the looming prospect of penalty seems to play on the mind. We've had that big chance from Romel Donovan at the end of the first period of extra time for Brentford, which he couldn't take. Apart from that, opportunities in extra time have been few and far between. Take one now, and for West Ham or Brentford, you're almost certainly through to the quarter-finals as Donovan gets a foot in. West Ham will have a throw midway through the Brentford half near side Glenn Murray.
Yeah, it's become a cagey affair, hasn't it? Both teams, like I say, not wanting to overcommit, not wanting to be that man that makes that mistake. But also, on the flip side, there'll be plenty out there that want to be heroes and send their team through without penalties.
Oh, it's beautifully worked by West Ham as Castellanos' deflection takes it just over. Oh, that so easily could have nestled in the top corner. It was lovely build-up play by West Ham, and Castellanos with the shot on the edge of the area sees it deflected over for a West Ham corner.
Yeah, it takes a big deflection, doesn't it, off Sepp van der Berg's big left thigh. And Keller is absolutely rooted because it's dipping, it's flying towards that far top corner. Thankfully for the Brentford man, lands on top of the goal.
So, corner to West Ham from the far side. Jarrod Bowen to whip it in. Big, powerful header away at the near post by Nathan Collins. Back in by Mayers. Brentford try and clear it again. It's outside the penalty area, and now they will hook it up towards the halfway line, where should be and is steered back by Magassa to Alphonse Areola and out to the left-hand side. Big chance then for Brentford at the end of the first period of extra time. Big chance there for West Ham nearing the end of the second period of extra time. 2.5 minutes to go before penalties here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds to decide whether it will be West Ham or Brentford to go through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup and face Leeds United. It's 2-2. It's Castellanos on the halfway line, easing through the Brentford half. Troik taking up that central position. He's well challenged by Fioro, and Brentford now have the chance to counter. Out to the right-hand side, and 2-goal Igor Thiago. They've got plenty in the middle to aim for, but the delivery from Thiago was poor, and West Ham can intercept, and all of a sudden in these final stages it's end-to-end as both sides throw absolutely everything at this. Jarrod Bowen down the right-hand side for West Ham. He's got 2 light blue shirts with him, plays it right into Nathan Collins. Will get it back, Bowen, as it spins away again to the right-hand side. West Ham 2, Brentford 2 in the final stages of extra time. You've got 90 seconds plus added time to go, and the London Stadium roars West Ham forward with Wan-Bissaka. Now Jarrod Bowen Wan-Bissaka's continued his run, and Bowen finds him, whips the ball in, headed behind by Nathan Collins. West Ham corner.
Yeah, greeted by a big cheer at the London Stadium. They want to put this to bed before penalties. As we watch Jarrod Bowen walk very, very slowly to collect the ball and take this penalty. He wants to make this the last action of the game as we tick into the 119th minute.
Yeah, he's taking his time over this corner, isn't he? And as you say, Glenn, I think they just want to make sure that Brentford don't have time for another chance. I don't think it's going to be quite effective enough. We've still got a little bit of time to play. But here goes Bowen. Swings it in, it's headed up and away by Brentford out to the left-hand side. Disasi still up there for West Ham. He's forced out of the penalty area and will pull it back to Ezra Mayers. Chips the ball in, it's really poor from the teenager. Cleared away by Brentford, but will spin out to the right-hand side. And they pick it up once more, West Ham, with Jarrod Bowen. Wan-Bissaka's making a run, but he lays it off instead to Magassa. Flying header from Igor Thiago on the edge of his own penalty area. Sends it out of play for a West Ham throw. It's all West Ham in the final few seconds. We'll see how much added time there is. There is going to be a bit. I can see the fourth official down there with the board. As Ezra Mayers takes the throw for West Ham. A goal now for either side. Surely wins it. It's Mayers. Little deflection. Still reaches the area. Won't fall for Wilson into 2 minutes of added time as West Ham pick it up again. Midway through the Brentford half. Out to the left-hand side. And Mayers will steer it back to Magassa. Lays it off to Konstantinos Mavropanos, who plays it off Fioro and will win the throw for West Ham midway through the Brentford half on the right-hand side. 2-2, Glenn Murray.
Can't get out Brentford, can they? West Ham just found an extra little bit in the tank towards the end. They can sense it. I think the fans can sense it as well. Can they carve? Can they manufacture one more opportunity?
If anyone can, it's Jarrod Bowen down the right-hand side. It's blocked away, spins to Wan-Bissaka, still outside the penalty area. Magassa's delivery in, flying header by Nathan Collins. Comes to Axel Disasi. It's all West Ham at the moment. 2-2 as Disasi drives. Oh, that wasn't far away. What a rocket from Axel Disasi. 30 yards out. Kelleher flying across his goal, didn't get a touch. In the end, didn't need to. West Ham 2, Brentford 2.
Yeah, but he caught that, didn't he? The West Ham centre-back. Oh, it isn't far away. It was really moving. It was a long way out. It's 35 yards out. And it just whistles over the fully stretched Kelleher as he jumps to his right-hand top corner. It's a moment in the mouth for... heart in the mouth moment, should I say, for Brentford. As all of West Ham groan as it sails over the top of the bar.
Well, Kelleher might have had it covered, but such is the power on the shot from Disasi. Whether having it covered would have been enough to tip it onto the bar. It was an absolute pile driver as West Ham had the throw on halfway. We've got 20 seconds of added time to play at the end of extra time. It's 2-2. Brentford have won it. They have it on halfway. They want the free kick. They're not going to get it, but they do have the ball with Coyote. Plays it to Igor Thiago, just ran under his feet, but will come to Fioro. Fioro drives, blocked away by Disasi, who celebrates with a huge punch. Well, he almost won it at one end. He might have stopped Brentford winning it at the other, and he does ensure that this FA Cup 5th round tie goes to penalties. It finishes 2-2 after extra time, and it will be spot kicks to decide who plays Leeds United in the last 8.
And we will be back for those spot kicks shortly. But first up here on 5 Live, we're going to head over to Tony Livesey, who can bring us some news on a press conference from Donald Trump. Tony.
Yes, Aaron, thank you very much indeed. We're poised to take over after penalties, but Donald Trump's been on his feet for half an hour or so now. He's giving his first press conference since the war in Iran began. Amongst other things, he's said the US has destroyed 51 Iranian ships, and now they've begun to target Iran's drone and missile manufacturing. He says the US is prepared to use the Navy to help escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz if necessary. He said the military operation is way ahead of schedule. Here's a little taster of what he's been saying.
We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in or the head of the country in that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years.
Just a very small taste there of what Donald Trump's been saying over the past half hour or so. So we'll go through all the significant moments. He's had some really interesting things to say about oil and gas supplies. So all that to come, Aaron, as soon as penalties are over.
Yeah, Tony, thank you so much. All over here at the London Stadium. Well, in normal time and in extra time, it finished West Ham United 2, Brentford 2, an exhilarating period of extra time. Glenn Murray was alongside it for us. That effort from Axel Disasi, Glenn, my word, that would have taken the lid off this place.
Oh, I would indeed, wouldn't it, to put you in the quarter-final of the FA Cup in this kind of circumstance at that moment of the game. But I'm just getting a look at all the players down there, getting ready for penalties, the managers getting the players in order. Who wants to take one?
Some young heads, aren't there, for Brentford especially? I mean, there was Keith Andrews had to name a young bench, didn't he? Ramel Donovan came on, Kay Furo as well, and you wonder if they'll step up to take them, as we see Alphonse Areola heading back out of the tunnel. He's been down to the dressing rooms. He's heading out for his penalty shootout. But what would you say to these players right now? They've given it all.
Yeah, I mean, just go out there and kind of do what we've practiced, pick your place and put it there. As far as Brentford are concerned, I fully expect Furo to take one. I thought he was good on the evening. I really like the profile of him. I think it could be another exceptional forward that they've brought into their ranks. But when I get a look, regardless of the penalty takes, I'm looking at the goalkeepers. I think Kelleher has been the better on the evening. Not that Areola's done anything wrong, I just think he's pulled out some exceptional saves, so he goes into this shootout with confidence. But then when I look at the West Ham man, as a former penalty taker myself, Areola would frighten me because his athletic ability and the way he can spring, I think he's a nightmare for forwards to take penalties against.
So here we go for a place in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. A tie with Leeds United awaits. We will now find out if it will be West Ham United or Brentford. It's over to penalties and to you, Vicky Sparks and Glenn Murray.
Thank you very much, Aaron. The two captains on the halfway line with referee Andy Madley as they do the coin toss. As Nathan Collins and Jared Bowen there. Hands on hips. We've just seen Queeving Kelleher with a member of Brentford's backroom staff. He's more up to date than a water bottle, Glenn. It was just an iPad there. That's quite disappointing, actually. I'd rather he was a bit old school, but clearly going through the West Ham penalty takers. And
technology taking over, Vicky.
So here we go. Penalties are about to begin. They will be taken away to our right. And Jared Bowen, West Ham's captain, who has already scored from the spot this evening as part of a brace, will be the first to take the spot kick for West Ham.
Always hard taking a second penalty against the same goalkeeper on the same evening. It's that kind of double jeopardy, isn't it?
Would you go the same way, Glenn Murray, or would you do something different?
I don't know, I once had I had 3 penalties one evening and I missed one.
Did you go the same way with all of them?
I can't remember, it was a long time ago, Vicky.
But you do remember that you missed
I remember that I got a hat-trick though after. I got another. Not a penalty.
So, West Ham to go first in this FA Cup 5th round penalty shootout against Brentford for a place in the quarter-finals. He's already beaten Kelleher once from the spot this evening. It's Jared Bowen stepping up and taking the responsibility once more in this opening kick of the shootout. Brilliant penalty. Goes to the right. Kelleher dived, didn't get anywhere near it. Super spot kick from Bowen. And West Ham score the first penalty.
Yeah, top penalty. Execution, pace, power, as expected from Jared Bowen. Changed the side from the one earlier on. Same outcome. As a big boo rings around the London Stadium for, guess who?
Igor Thiago. The roles almost identically reversed because Thiago's also got 2 tonight and Thiago has also scored from the spots. The late penalty in normal time to level up this FA Cup 5th round tie.
His wasn't quite as convincing as Bowen's.
It wasn't. What will it be here? It's moved on to 21 goals for the season. Igor Thiago for Brentford to level up this shootout. A little stutter again, so calmly done. Rolls it into the bottom corner. Areola went the wrong way. And we are all square in the shootout. One penalty scored apiece.
Well, he walked over to the Brentford fans, shouting "Vamos" at the top of his voice. A very good penalty. That second one much better than the first. I thought he might have dropped the little stutter. He doesn't. He kept it. And it was a very good, calm penalty from the Brentford number 9.
So, Tati Castellanos next up for West Ham. Kelleher, all in bright orange, on his line. Castellanos, long run up this one, blazes it into the roof of the net. Another super spot kick. And West Ham have scored both of their 2 opening penalties.
Oh, I like that penalty. I liked it a lot. It's the pure power, and he just kisses the bottom side of the bar as it picks up pace into the back of the net. Unstoppable penalty from Castellanos.
And he cannot watch Nuno Espirito Santo in his technical area. He had his head down, he was staring at the ground. But West Ham 2 penalties from 2.
Not quite in the same mannerism as Amarin early on in the season at Grimsby, though.
Well, we are early on in this shootout, and Brentford are looking to level it up with their record signing. Dango Ouattara places the ball on the spot. Areola in bright yellow, bouncing along his goal line, left, right, left, right. So, Dango Ouattara to make it 2-2 in the penalty shootout. Taking his time over this. Just waiting, just composing himself. Now starts the run-up, it's Ouattara. Oh, it's terrible, he went for the Panenka, and Areola didn't move, and Areola caught it. What a time to try Panenka, and it was a bad time. And West Ham have advantage in the penalty shootout. What a call from Ouattara, and he got it all wrong.
Well, I did wonder. He seemed to really wait on the spot, didn't he, after the referee had said, go ahead, take it. It was almost like he was stuck thinking about what he was going to do. And Areola read the situation. He read exactly what he was going to do, and he stands still and he catches a really, really easy ball about head height. And it is welcomed around the London Stadium with cheers.
Keith Andrews motionless on the touchline as Callum Wilson steps up for West Ham. Super penalty, top corner. Kelleher no chance. And West Ham are flawless so far in the spot kicks, 3 from 3.
Well, yeah, you're right, they are flawless in the spot kicks, but the manner of these 3 spot kicks has been absolutely exceptional. All of them unstoppable. I actually think that kisses the bottom of the bar as well as it goes in by Callum Wilson, but that one isn't so much in the middle of the goal, it's right in the top corner, all struck with such pace, power, accuracy. 3 penalties, you don't see much better.
So big pressure now on the shoulders of Keane Lewis Potter. Twizzles the ball once, twice, 3 times in his hands and places it on the spot. Up against Alphonse Areola. Keane Lewis Potter for Brentford. Again, Areola dancing on his line. It's Lewis Potter, lovely penalty, right into the bottom corner. Areola went the right way and almost got there, but that was placed to perfection by Keane Lewis Potter. And after 3 penalties apiece, West Ham lead Brentford by 3 spot kicks to 2.
I enjoyed the exchange between the 2 of them there. It was a really good penalty, wasn't it? A lot of pressure on his shoulders, a lot of noise around the stadium, but he whips it low, hard, back into that side netting and just stares at Alphonse Areola. He got a big grin back from the West Ham goalkeeper.
So, Tomasz Souček steps up for West Ham, and again, Nuno cannot watch. He's staring at the floor. This to put real pressure on Brentford. It's Tomasz Souček, super penalty again, top corner, went right, again, Kelleher had no chance, and now Brentford have to score to stay in the FA Cup.
Yeah, another top penalty by West Ham. Excellent from the spot this evening. They've been in all 5 of their penalties, including Bowen's first. Another one very similar to Callum Wilson's, not quite as high, But same top corner effort from Thomas Souček. All pressure on Brentford. And Matthias Jensen.
This has got to go in. West Ham have scored all 4 of their penalties. Ouattara's Panenka could be the costly miss. Jensen's got to score. Areola retreating to his goal line. This has to go in for Brentford. Otherwise, they're out of the FA Cup. It's Matthias Jensen against Alphonse Areola. Super penalty right into the roof of the net. Brentford keep their hopes alive, but West Ham now have the chance to win it.
Oh, it's Mavropanos. I didn't expect Mavropanos to walk forward, I'm not going to lie. But just looking at that penalty, Jensen, again, a lot of pressure, goes for pace and power right down the middle, high up, good penalty. This time, Areola dives out of the way. Mavropanos for the win.
Well, Caoimhín Kelleher has made some brilliant saves in this game for Brentford. He's not been able to stop any of these penalties. Konstantinos Mavropanos with the chance to win it, and he does! It's another super penalty into the top right-hand corner, and West Ham have been flawless in this penalty shootout. They might be fighting to stay in the Premier League this season, but they are through to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup for the first time in a decade, thanks to penalties against Brentford. Glenn Murray.
I mean, you don't see many better 5 penalties than what West Ham have just dispatched here in the FA Cup that sends them in to the quarter-finals, and it's welcomed by a full house of West Ham supporters in full voice. Forever blowing bubbles.
Take this momentum. That will be the message from Nuno. Do it in the FA Cup. Maybe they can do it in the Premier League as well. West Ham through to the last 8 on penalties after a 2-2 draw with Brentford.
Vicky, Glenn, thank you so much. Fortune really has been hiding for West Ham United this season. But Nuno Espirito Santo is building something special here. He celebrated that penalty shootout win with just a simple fist bump. Sat in his chair in the dugout all throughout it, biting on its fingernails. And Glenn Murray, they took it right to the end. But look at what it meant to those supporters who have taken a lot of pain this season.
Yeah, it did. It was a special moment, wasn't it? And then they burst into song as we see them all rushing out on a Monday night late doors after the treat of penalties. But yeah, more momentum for West Ham, a really good victory for them. And like I say, the 5 penalties that they dispatched were absolutely superb. Very highest order, but football is all about moments, and when you decide to do Panenka and it doesn't come off, unfortunately that's the outcome.
What about for Dango Ouattara? Glenn, you can't go for a Panenka at that stage. You've got to go and just put your foot through it and give it some.
Well, you can.
I know,
and
but look at the outcome.
And
this is high stakes.
Yeah, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. I mean, we've seen people do it at a much higher level than this in much more important situations than this, not belittling this situation at all. That is what he chose to do. He thought that was the best route to go down to beat the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper read the situation extremely well. You've got to give kudos to him, because we see so many goalkeepers dive out of the way. And I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, I suppose.
Yeah. The Brentford players take some applause from the travelling supporters. But for West Ham United, Glenn, what will this do for their fight for survival? Having that added sort of, thought of the FA Cup in the back of their minds, it's an alternative competition, and it just gives them something else to play for in what's been a difficult season.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it, didn't we, at the top of the show, about kind of the balance between doing well in the league from a European perspective from Brentford and balancing FA Cup, or being in a relegation conversation and balancing the FA Cup for West Ham. I'm a big advocate of the positivity that it spreads around the football club, the momentum it gives you, and that can transcend into your league form. So yeah, I'm all for it. I think Nuno Espirito Santo will be delighted by the aptitude of his players, the professionalism of his players, the plays that he called on, the changes that he made, all delivered for him. I think Somerville looked like it pretty much recovered towards the end there, so that's a positive as well. I mean, and the fans are on side. They thoroughly enjoyed their evening. All of a sudden, there's a little bit of a lightness to West Ham, and the air's a bit fresher.
Absolutely, a month is a very, very long time in football. You think back to that win over Burton Albion in the FA Cup, which really kick-started some decent form for West Ham. They've managed to get themselves going in the Premier League. They're motoring on in the FA Cup. They will welcome Leeds United here to the Olympic Park over the Easter weekend in an FA Cup quarter-final. The other ties in that draw: Manchester City will play Liverpool, Chelsea will welcome Port Vale, and Southampton take on Arsenal. That is it from us here on the London Stadium. Tomorrow night, 5 Live takes you to the Champions League. Liverpool are in Turkey to take on Galatasaray. That one a 5:45 kickoff from 8. It's Newcastle against Barcelona from St James's Park, with Atletico Madrid against Tottenham Hotspur on 5 Sports Extra. Make sure you join Kelly Cates from 5:30 for that. Tony Livesey is up next here on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Cheers, Aaron. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, busy night all round here on 5 Live. While you were listening to those penalties take place, we were listening to Donald Trump giving his first official press conference since the start of the war in Iran. Quite significant. He said he's confident the war will be over pretty quickly. He says the US has destroyed 51 Iranian ships and has now begun to target Iran's drone and missile manufacturing process. He also addressed oil supplies. He said the US was prepared to use the Navy to help escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz if necessary. And he had a dire warning for Iran if they were to begin to indiscriminately target tankers going through the strait. So we'll go through everything he said and assess the significance of it. We've got a special guest coming along very shortly. Here's then just a little flavour. Here's 4 minutes or so of what he had to say tonight.
Over the weekend, the United States military and the Israeli Defense Forces continued Operation Epic Fury very successfully. Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. Now, you add that up to all of the other things: Midnight Hammer, getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers, and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with a situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years.
Well, there we are. That's Donald Trump speaking this evening. Good evening, everyone. By the way, it's Tony Livesey here on 5 Live. So we're going to react over the next few moments to the press conference that Donald Trump's given while we were listening to the football here on 5 Live. He gave his first official press conference since the start of the war in Iran. He addressed military matters, as you heard there. He talked a lot about oil supplies as well. We will get to that later in the programme. And he went to the journalists in the audience for a question and answer session, and we'll play that for you in just a moment. But right now, let's speak to General Sir Richard Barrons, a former commander of Joint Forces Command who helped lead last year's Strategic Defence Review of British Armed Forces. General Barrons, hello, welcome to the programme.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know if that's all you've heard or whether you heard the press conference go out live, but that's the essence of what he would assess to be the military victory so far, or close to a victory. What do you make of what he had to say?
So I think it was indicative of the thought in his head that he's quite close to finishing, in that he's clear in his own mind that the Iranian nuclear program has been severely disabled. He didn't exclude it coming back, but not quickly. And that the ballistic missile system, so missiles, launchers and manufacture, and the drone manufacture and launch system have both been significantly degraded. I mean, it'd be very hard to say that they'll ever be completely destroyed. So I think in terms of the two original objectives of removing Iran's nuclear program and removing Iran's capability of either firing nuclear weapons in due course or firing conventional weapons at its neighbours, that is pretty nearly done. And what, interestingly, he didn't then go on to say is that anymore, that he was looking to force regime change, because that is clearly not going to happen.
Well, that's interesting as well, isn't it? Because prior to this press conference, about an hour before, he spoke to the CBS, who are the BBC's partners in the States, and I quote him now, he said, "I think the war is very complete, pretty much." That was his phrase to them. But as you've kind of touched on there, nobody was sure of what constituted victory to him going into this. So is it a victory of sorts? He's degraded their military capability, he's wrecked their navy and whatever existed of their air force, etc., etc. But he said, he went on to say, I don't want to have to do this again, or we shouldn't have to do this again in 5 to 10 years' time. Is there any guarantee that that's the case?
So I think we should recognise Mr. Trump's special skill at declaring almost anything the victory that he originally intended, and he's certainly left himself plenty of room to manoeuvre. So on the one hand, he can rightly claim significant military success against the physical aspects of a nuclear program and conventional weapons, and that includes the destruction of the Iranian navy. But on the other hand, Iran at the minute is successfully keeping oil and gas tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz, and that's having a direct effect on not just oil prices, but inflation and interest rates and all of those things. And so he's probably hedging that were he to declare victory tonight, that there would be the big question mark over the strait and possibly Iran's ability to fire at their neighbours a little bit more. So I think he was essentially saying to Iran, we're nearly done, and if you want to continue, it'll just get worse. And he talked about a whole new set of targets, which can't have been military targets because he says they've mostly been destroyed. So that would be a huge concern for all sorts of people, particularly the people of Iran. And so I think to some degree he was putting the ball in Iran's court to see what they choose to do next.
Yeah, on that. And so later on in this show, just to let everyone know who's listening, we're going to talk about oil supplies and all the issues resultant around that. But on the Strait of Hormuz, he said in particular, and you've touched on it there, so this is for the benefit of those who didn't hear him. He said if they begin to interfere with traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, we'll hit them so hard they will never recover. And earlier on he talked about those easy targets, as you said, electricity manufacturing, kind of in energy infrastructure. You guessed that to be. He said we could destroy it in a day. So would that be an effective threat to the regime? Do you think that they'd say they need to keep that manufacturing base intact?
Well, it'd be an appalling prospect for a number of reasons. The first is that this electricity supply, if that's what he meant, is the electricity supply to the people of Iran. And so that is directly targeting the daily life of the civil population, which is wholly different to saying you're only going to destroy the military capability and would keep politicians and lawyers around the world occupied for a very long time working out whether that was lawful, not that in the case of this war that seems to be a driving factor. But the fact is, the US with Israel do have the military capacity, if they chose to so deplete the infrastructure that supports Iran's daily life that it would take at least 5 years to restore it. That's usually how long it takes to rebuild the power station and the electricity grid. And I mean, for example, look at the damage that President Putin has inflicted on Ukraine. So I think he's holding that out as a risk if Iran chooses to continue. But nowhere in that conversation anymore was a sense of, and the regime has got to give in. That's simply, it seems, no longer in his head.
Yeah, and that might be a point of tension with Israel, because they've publicly stated, haven't they, that any successor is a target for assassination. He was asked twice. We may well hear it in the bits we're going to play in a moment on the question and answer session, but he was asked twice if there was a target on the back of the new leader, and he said, I don't want to say that.
So you're right in that I think there would be a difference of view there between Israel, who would say that the new supreme leader, who after all is the son of the one who was killed recently, is as hardline, maybe even more hardline, but also possibly younger, more energetic and more determined. So the regime, in terms of the Islamic Revolution, has clearly doubled down. So that would worry Israel. For the US, if their interests were really mostly focused on Iran's willingness and ability to target the US and elsewhere with nuclear weapons and, in some cases, conventional weapons, then they'll have a different definition of what success looks like.
Just before you go, because I know we're going to lose you in a couple of minutes, do you assume that he's revised his thoughts on what he might achieve with this attack? Because, I wonder if he had a vague notion of the public rising up and taking to the streets. Help is on the way, he said last time, before a couple of thousand people were murdered by the regime. Where do you think his original intentions stand versus reality?
So I think there was some wishful thinking at the outset. I think perhaps he'd formed the view that there was a small, elite and very repressive regime that was sitting on top of a 90 million Iranians who just wanted to be liberated but were fearful of it. And I think what has become clearer is that the regime is very well entrenched. It's almost designed itself to cope with being at war, so it wouldn't be easy to dislodge. But that it does command the support of quite a lot of Iranians who've been out there demonstrating and indeed celebrating the arrival of the new leader. And yet there are tens of millions of Iranians who feel oppressed by the regime. So I think what he's encountered is a very polarized country, where the regime is firmly entrenched, has the monopoly of force. It killed possibly 30,000 of its own citizens in recent weeks when there was an attempt at an uprising. And so it is extremely unlikely that there's going to be a spontaneous Iranian removal of the regime. They're not organized, they're not equipped, and they've suffered greatly recently. And it has always been the case in this campaign that it was limited to the use of what you can do from the sky by air power. And there is no track record of air power removing regimes, because that usually has to be done by some sort of ground force turning up, and that was never an option.
And so, to end, just to be clear, based on the fact that he said tonight we have further targets in mind if you don't comply, and also the threats he made about the Strait of Hormuz if they began to attack tankers, you feel, don't want to put words in your mouth, but you kind of hinted at this, that you feel that that's him saying to the Iranian regime, the ball is now in your court, to how you respond over the next few days and weeks.
I think what Mr. Trump is saying is that he really would prefer Iran now to accept that they have been badly battered, at least at the military level. And if they continue, they're just going to get more of the same and probably worse. So I think he would prefer Iran to find a way of dialing down the violence. And without there being a conversation, frankly, about regime change, there might be a conversation about who's the president, and that's a slightly different question. And if Iran chooses not to do that, and the form so far is Iran would choose not to do that, then the destruction will continue.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
General Sir Richard Barron's there, former commander of Joint Forces Command, who helped lead last year's Strategic Defence Review of British Armed Forces. He was reacting there then, we played 4 minutes or so, of Donald Trump's first press conference since the start of the Iran war. He's given it tonight, just over an hour or so ago. Some quite significant moments within it. We are going to replay quite a lot of it for you tonight, so you can make up your own mind about what he's had to say. We'll get reaction as well, certainly in the next hour of the programme, to what he had to say about the Strait of Hormuz and oil and gas supplies to the globe, and how America intends to protect tankers going through that part of the nation. That was significant. Here now then, after he gave the press conference, less than half an hour or so, he then had a question and answer session with journalists. So we're going to play you the vast majority of that, 7 minutes or so of that. Here is his Q&A then.
Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together, but I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East, and he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to...
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
To Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that, and why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco. And so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter, because they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban-American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, yeah, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah. Please, go ahead.
Missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for
haven't
that strike?
seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries. You know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think you could say it both.
For?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big Navy, very powerful Navy. These were ships. These were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off their ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufactured the drones are under fire as we speak. They're being hit. So the rest is going to be determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you, you mentioned you were going to waive certain additional oil waivers or sanctions. Can you talk a little bit more about that and address in particular?
Well, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. We went artificially up because of this excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen. We have the best military. We have the best equipment. We have, I believe, the best generals. We have the best. And this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. Iran was a very powerful military country with all of the missiles. Now, you had the double attack. You had the original attack with us and Israel, and that knocked them for a loop. Then you had the B-2 bombers, which took out their nuclear capability, and they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And they would have used it long before this press conference. And we might have had a much different press conference if we had a press conference at all. But it's been amazing. The military success that we've had is truly unprecedented.
That was Donald Trump speaking in the past hour or so, giving his first official press conference since the war in Iran began. Daniel Lippman joins us now, White House reporter for Politico. Daniel, hello to you.
Thanks for having me.
Hi. There was kind of a very small school of thought before this began that he might be about to declare the war over. He hasn't done that. So why this press conference? Why now? What was he trying to portray, do you feel, tonight?
I think he was trying to kind of tell Americans that they should not have expectations that this is going to be a very long war. And so he's gotten a lot of heat from Republicans and from consultants and pollsters and